Okay, we'll try this again. Sorry about that, guys. I had a little bit of a misfire on my live stream. If you got notice and wonder what happened, the live stream dropped out there. I had a little bit of a glitch in my system. All right, so good morning, good evening, everybody around the world. My name is Red Baron. Thank you for joining me here on the live stream 2.0 after I got that little glitch fixed. Hopefully, my mic is working good. I'm still using my new cordless mic, so hopefully, sound quality is good. Looks like my levels are good. And so I'm going to wait for everybody to rediscover the stream here. So give me just a couple of minutes, as same as customary, as we always do. We have a little bit of radio silence while I alert the troops that I am actually live streaming, and this is an official live stream. So hang on just 1 second. I see Christine's already in. Good to have you. Hang on just a second. I'll be right with you here. So hold on just a moment. I'm going to kill off my mic, and I'll be right back. Well, thank you very much, Big D. You know what? You just actually did me a solid here, and I can't thank you enough for that, for the super chat. You know, I thought my super chat was broken. I didn't even, didn't even know that it was even working. So thank you very much. By the way, for that 20 bucks, if you want me to do a little bit of a call out for you, if you want something, you guys that are doing super chats. So that actually, I've been banging my head against the wall here, uh, trying to figure out how super chat works on this because there's just no button on my end. So it's nice to see that that actually does work. So thank you very much. I'll go ahead and do Crow for you here right now while I'm waiting for the troops to show up. So hold on just a second. Haven't been paying an awful lot of attention on that. So by the way, we're gonna now that I see the super chats is working. If you guys are wanting me to do those in particular, those call outs and stuff like that, that's pretty much the way it works. I know that, and I'll speak to this a little bit here while I'm waiting for everybody to kind of come in. I know that a lot of you guys can't afford to subscribe and stuff like that. I would love to be able to have this in a format where you guys can say, hey, listen, here's a 20 spot for you. Can you give me your call? And I'll do it for you. I'll certainly do that for you. So nice. Thank you very much for kind of reaffirming my suspicion that my super chats works there, Big D. I'll go ahead and take care of you here on that right now. If you want to, are you wanting a longer chart, or are you wanting like a here and the now on that? Are you wanting a 1 day? I'll go ahead and do a 1 day, but if you want a shorter term, I can give it to you. I would prescribe that you take a look at the 1 day, because we're not going to really have an awful lot of anything that's going to happen immediately. You really should be more concerned what's coming next week than the next 15 minutes to 2 hour chart. So it sounds like my sound levels are doing pretty good here. I'm trying not to get my mic like right up my nose here so you guys can hear me breathing. So this thing's like too much to the other side. It's a hell of a mic, so it's very, very sensitive. So I don't mean to clear my throat and you guys' ears and stuff like that. All right. So in answer to your crow question, hang on just a second here, real quick. In answer to your crow question, so we are on a triple wave, as I covered on a live stream before. You may not have caught that. Um, right now, basically, let's zoom in on that just a little bit here. We are kind of hitting a little bit of a bottom, slight uptick on that. You can see we have kind of an ascending trend line here. We have a how would you put that? You have a lower high and a higher low. So we're squeezing ourselves into a triangle. So pretty much basically where we're looking at is we're looking to strike that target, which is going to put you right about, if you're looking for a buying opportunity, if all things remain equal here, we're having a little bit of an uptick. And I'm going to be speaking to this little uptick because we've seen this happen with the entire market. I'm not of the mind that I believe that that's going to hold just yet. So over the last couple of days, here's what's been going on, and I'll cover this on other stuff in the live stream here. But um, what we're seeing is kind of micro tweezers. So we had a pretty good drop here, and I would have expected that to continue on, but they never give us what we think we're going to get. So what we're ultimately looking at, always comes back to looking at the Snapdragon or alligator if it's the old version. This is the old version, is the alligator. But you're looking at this green under red under blue. This is always your clear indicator of what's going on. So this is a 1 day chart we're looking at. So we still favor the downside, and that's where I want us to be anyway, because we got our targets going on. Now, what we're seeing here, there's a couple different trend lines we can pick up here. We can pick up the one that I mentioned earlier, which is, come on, Trading View, play nice with me, which is this one right here. I'll darken that up for you. All right, so we've got that trend line there, but we've also got another one that we have to kind of watch that's going to be more telling of what's going to happen, which is, I'm going to have to move this a little bit, which is right there. So we've got support and resistance going right through that little area right there. So it's very critical that we get down below this area here, down into the orange. So that's what you're watching for right now. Clean house here. So ultimately, the top of that box is really where you're mainly concerned with, the top of that orange box. But we want to be in that. Once we get in that, I can very easily see us probably striking the bottom of the box. So if you're looking for a buying opportunity on a bounce, what's your play? What are you looking to do? Are you looking to buy this thing and hold it long term? Or are you just looking to make some money because this is your favorite coin? What are you looking to do? I'll kind of pre-answer that, but go ahead and give me your answer. I know there's a little bit of a tape delay. So if your short-term if your short-term goals are to catch it on a bounce, I think you definitely can do that. Let's take a look and see if because we're going into that third week, which I expect the entire market to pick up. But with inside this box, you're looking 5%. That's not all that impressive. So what I would reasonably expect here, hang on just a second. I have to kind of silence my mic here a little bit when I cough. Sorry about that. My voice is not very strong today. I've been talking all day yesterday, so give me just a second here. All right, there we go. Your best bet right now is to catch this thing as low as it can go in the next 100 hours. Let's say the next 100 to 120 hours. That's your goal. When within that 100 to 120 hours, what I would tell you is we're probably going to start to see some market boost, if all things being equal. That third week, I really highly anticipate that we're going to start to see some bullish action. Reason for that is let's take a look at right here at the MACD. If we go into a longer red session, which can carry us out another 100 to 120 hours or so, we're going to flip and that's going to go green, and it has to go up. It just has to go up. So you can see right now this is already primed below purple. It's working its way into purple. So we are one major indicator. Let me back up a little bit because I haven't really talked an awful lot about this to you guys, and I think you really need to understand the pecking order or order of priority for reading these indicators. Number one is always here. Always look at your alligator, always look at your snapdragon first. That's the first thing that you want to do. Number two, just take your eyes right down here to this. Always look at your RSI. RSI for me, this is the indicator, the way that I do this. I look and see, are we above purple? Are we below purple? Are we in where we're at? So my eyes go from here to here to here, and then back to the Bollinger Band. And then the last thing I ever reference is this. This is just kind of a little icing on the cake. I rarely ever pay much attention to the DMI. It's nice to have it be the fifth of four strong indicators, but I'm perfectly okay if all other indicators are strong and showing strength, that the DMI is not. I'm still all systems go. I don't have any problem with that. But if you're really looking for where should I trust, who should I trust, or what should I trust, you always want to start with your Snapdragon or Alligator, and then you want to go down to the RSI and look and see, are we undersold, are we oversold, and then you want to compare your MACD, because your MACD it's a trailing indicator. So it's not a future forecast. These are trailing indicators, but when you start to see several trailing indicators stacking up, that's how you know what the future holds. The past is just the future. The clues of the future can be found in the past, is how I want to say that. All right, so the short-term answer for you, where should we get you? Where should we get you a buy target? I would say probably in about the 30, let's just call it 37-cent range. Bottom of this orange box makes very good sense, and it's going to be a hard sell to get down there. It's going to be a wick when it happens. So if you want to, there's several different, what I want to say, there's several different exchanges that carry Crow. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. If you can get a market order in, you're going to want, or not a market order, but get a pre-order in, you're going to want to do that, because I have a sneaky suspicion it's going to be a wick that's going to strike the bottom of that. So it's not going to sit down there waiting for you to market order this thing. So be ready for it. And then once it's in, just sit it out. Wait about 120 hours or so, and I think we're going to see it come about next Friday. I think we'll be in the throes of some pump. So hopefully that answered your question. All right. Okay, guys, so it looks like we got enough of the crew has joined us here. The rest of the people will follow us. We got one of our moderators on deck here. So, all right. Hey, Peter, how you doing? I haven't seen you in the chat for a while. I know you're probably here. I just don't look and see don't see names very often. All right, so let's go ahead and go through this here. Again, pardon me, my voice is extremely weak today. I woke up at 5:30 today. I'm still on my crappy sleeping deal. I pass out at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm usually functional by 5 p.m. So it's still morning. I've been up for an hour and a half, so I'm fresh as a daisy. I'm ready to go, but my voice is not doing real well. All right, so let's start with Bitcoin and see what's doing here. So Bitcoin again, we did pick up a ping as expected, right there. So here's kind of what's going on, guys. So as we're doing this broadcast, because we tend to run over half hour, we run a couple hours here. During this broadcast, we're going to get another daily candle. So we're going to see what's going to happen with this. I would strongly suspect we'll pick up another candle here. And again, so just like I told you, we're going to start by looking at the Snapdragon. Snapdragon is not showing me anything bullish here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the RSI. RSI is sneaking into the purple, but it's not doing it convincingly so. So we could just as easily go right back down again. All right, the next thing, and I've already kind of given you a clue what I expect. What I truly expect is I think we're going to go into a second smaller red session of RSI. I really do. And that'll carry us out for 120 hours or so before we hit that boost. And we've already got a little bit of a clue right here as to this is part of the Anubis Wave. If I shorten that out. You can already kind of see what the narrative is. As we get over to, hang on just a second here, pardon me. All right. As we get over here to the Anubis Wave, we'll start to pick up that uptick, and we'll start to go up a little bit, but we've got a few days before we get there. So this will be low about maybe, I don't know how many days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, give or take about next Friday, like I said. So come about next Friday, we'll probably come underneath this thing and lollygag around here a little bit, drop probably down into the $37,000 range, and then we'll probably catch a little bit of a cycle up. Bitcoin and the whole mess. So this is playing about like expected. I know it's driving you guys nuts that are waiting for the inevitable crash or the big crash, but not yet, guys, not yet. It's coming. It's coming. I'm watching for some indicators. My gut feeling is it's probably going to be looking at, we're probably going to be looking at sometime mid to late summer, as it's looking right now. All right, so prediction hits. I told you we're going to be touching off on that circle, and we hit it right on the edge. So there's another ping right there. Um, Again, we're still looking at it down, so this isn't over yet. You can very clearly see that we're getting stair-step emotion, so we're not done recognizing this thing. By the time we've got here again, there's that window that I'm talking about. We've got 120 hours before we get this. When we cross this Fibonacci, when we cross this Fibonacci circle right here, we're going to start to see something, because you can see how we're respecting this. If I cycle this down a little bit, you can see how we respect these rings very, very well. When we cross these rings, we get action. Always have. So as we get through there, we hit it, we pump, we walk down inside, we cross, we drop, we hit it, we drop, get up, hit it, so drop. So is it going to mean a pump or is it going to mean a dump? It's going to mean a pump. There's no question in my mind about that. So you can see that as we, let me get some of that stuff off here. As we drop into this here, we're going to cross this, and we are still inside of this channel, so yes, it makes every bit of sense, and we're going into a green session of MACD. We're still working our way up. So yes, if you guys are wanting to get yourself some Ethereum, I really don't think that's a bad price. $2,700 right in that range, not a bad price. You know, if you can, you've heard me talk about this a number of times, but you guys that want to invest in altcoins and stuff, this is the gas to get it done. You cannot go wrong by buying Ethereum at a good price, because all roads come through Ethereum. This is the golden road to the shit coins. So if you want to buy those low dollar coins, or you want to buy this stuff, you got to get your Ethereum first. So buying that right. I mean, look at it this way, guys. If you're, and I probably mentioned this in the past, if you guys are buying Ethereum and catching a little bit of a pump on Ethereum, then whenever you do decide you find a coin, even if that coin is already moving a little bit, you're already caught the wave up by buying Ethereum correctly. So don't hesitate to buy Ethereum when the price is right. Certainly, I'm not holding a great deal of it, but I think I'm gonna take a dose of my own medicine on this. I think I probably would be a buyer down here in this range. We do have a good amount of support and resistance right there, so highly likely what I expect to have happen is it'll probably hit here. We'll probably wick down, come right back up in here. We've seen that about a million billion times. So wouldn't surprise me at all to see us probably strike, let me give you some real numbers, probably strike 2,600 to 2,650, right in that range. And that'll be on a wick. It won't be on a drop. We'll see things like this where it drops outside, comes back in, drops outside, comes back in. Charts are notorious for doing stuff like that. So just because you see a channel, don't always think that it's going to stay inside. Here's a good one right here. Look at that, way out here. So if we can do it once and twice, we can do it a third time. So it ain't no big thing. So I would be looking at anywhere from 2,600 to 2,650, right in that range. In fact, I'll do you a solid here. I'll put this in for you. Now, by this, as we talked about this on last live stream, doesn't mean in the box. It means anything having to do with the box. Touching the top, going in, hitting the bottom. So top of that box is just as relevant as the inside and the bottom. So remember that. I'm going to take a look at my indicators here and see what's going on. Okay, kind of a sideways day today, so as expected. All right, XRP. This thing's just, man, nail biter, nail biter. You guys know that I sold a position here to get into another coin. That didn't end up panning out, so I want my money back. I want my XRP back. So I could have had a chance to grab it right here. It just wasn't appealing to me. So here we are now. We're starting to get into this. Now that would, at first glance, look like a bull flag or a bull pennant. It is not. It is not. You can see, again, starting at number one, we're looking at the alligator, or we're looking at, this is the snapdragon. You were looking at the snapdragon. It was looking bullish, and then she turned on us. So this is starting to wilt. This is, okay, now another indicator, so we haven't had this for a while. All right, so let's go ahead and blow this up a little bit. Here would be what I was talking about, where, see, we're in the purple. Now let's go back and look at the history of this coin. Never assume with this that, we always go top, always go bottom, because we don't, as you can very easily see, right through the middle of this. So just because we go halfway doesn't mean we're going all the way. But nonetheless, you can see that we do have quite a bit of support and resistance kind of right through the middle of this. And so this is referred to as oversold when we're up here and undersold when we're down here. So we like to be down here when we're buying. We like to be up here when we're selling. Simple as that. I don't think I've ever really broke that down for you guys. We do not buy or sell when we were here. Never, never, never. I want to make absolutely sure. And the reason why is because we just don't know which way it's going to go, as you can see. What if you think, I'm going to wait for that thing to get up here and then I'm going to sell? Boom, she drops on you. So don't make your buy-sell decisions unless you are above that purple or below that purple. That's simple as that. Trailing indicators, yes, but the past does give us clues towards the future. But we are convincingly, we are convincingly heading into oversold, meaning there's a sell-off opportunity coming, meaning we're going to go along here for a little while and then the market's going to sell off, and you know what happens when sell-offs happen. Prices drop like that. So that means that as we're going up here, we're going to see XRP. Let's go ahead and get that back on the regular chart. What we're going to see is potentially a little bit more of a pump with XRP, probably to the top of this. Let me darken this up here a little bit. Probably to the top of that. And let's go ahead and make that yellow. There we go. That stands out a little bit more. Probably to the top of this, and it'll bang down here. So what I would likely suspect, let me get this out of here. What I would likely suspect is possibly up here to the 200 EMA, and then eventually she's going to come back down. But again, I always have to repeat this because the guys that are new on live stream and some of the guys that are never really sure if I've changed my mind, I am still holding steadfast to my 22 to 25 cent call. It's gonna happen. It's very difficult to look at these days when we see things going up and going, how can he keep saying this? But I am going to keep saying this. Well, hey Heidi, how you doing? How you doing in Australia there? By the way, I just looked up and saw your name. I haven't seen you for a while, so I'm seeing some old names here. Heidi's had some tough times. She's in Australia here. She's still hanging with the faithful. So good to have you with us, girl. We hate to lose the old schoolers with us. So. How's Australia doing? Fill us in the chat. Things getting any better? I noticed they've fallen out of the news cycle, and I haven't really heard an awful lot of news about Australia. I know we've got several diamonds that are Australians. I just haven't seen an awful lot of news as to what's been going on. I know things getting better for you guys. All right, so to close this out again, so we're basically still waiting for, let me clean house here a little bit. We're still waiting for down here in this range to kind of keep this very clean. You know, we're basically kind of getting an up cycle here, but you can see the overall trend um, down, up, down. So we've got a lot of support and resistance right in this general area right here. So my next call, my next expectation, broadly speaking, is right in the 60 cent range to kind of cut through all the spaghetti and stuff like that. So I'm waiting for the next appreciable drop down to be in the 60 cent range. We're not going to have that immediately, but we are going to get it. You can very clearly see that in the charts. Now, XLM, as I've said many, many times, but I'll make another case for it. See, XLM can sometimes give you a indicator exactly how violent of a move you're going to see for XRP, because they kind of, they don't really respect the same general move as they used to back in the day last year, but there's still indicators, there's still clues, kind of like tfuel and THETA don't move exactly in tandem like they did a year and a half ago, but nonetheless, as one goes, the other kind of eventually gets around to following. But again, with XLM is running a much cleaner pattern, much more predictable. You can see we're bouncing around inside of the sub channels here just a little bit. We've got a couple of different things, but we're respecting that pretty well. Top of the triangle to the bottom of the triangle. We're still operating in that area, but we're above this orange channel, so we're kind of walking around in this area here. So to go back and pull that out. Pretty much basically, guys, again, with a great degree of success, we fall out the flat side of a triangle. And again, we have to get to the 70% or to the tip to be able to do any business. So, and here we are again with that golden number. Within about roughly by next Friday, we're going to be making some moves. So now, are we going to be blasted off? Again, as I've told you infinite number of times, generally the flat side is where we break out of. However, this may be a case where that rule is meant to be broken. If the entire market is going to blast, then it's going to blast at 70%. And I'm sorry, I hate to use that word blast. If it's going to pump or it's going to take off, we're going to have a word that means go up, but not violently. Just understand I'm talking about 10, 15, 20, 25%. I'm not talking about going to the moon. So when you hear me say blast, if I slip and say that, don't think double, triple, 300, 400% returns, because that's not what I'm talking about. I think the rules are meant to be broken here. And I think that this will be one of those times, given the rest of the market is going to be pumping, blasting, whatever you choose to stick on that for a term. I think that it will break trend and be one of those lesser times when it goes out the top, not out the bottom. However, I have to kind of allow for the fact that we have seen in the last 48 hours, we have seen XLM, XRP do things opposite to the rest of the market. So there's that. We're not close enough yet that I can give you a prediction and give you an idea of exactly what I see for that, but be aware. I'm putting these things out here so that you know all rules are meant to be broken, but you have to kind of know how trends are going to. And so realize that XLM and XRP are not following the pack quite the way that they normally do. XRP had a little bit of a exuberant pump, and XLM just thought they'd join the party, and the rest of the market was going the opposite direction. And now that seems to be over with. So now the market might go, and XRP might be given back, and XLM might be given back those gains from last week. So be aware of that. And in that case, we would indeed fall out the bottom of this triangle. So be aware of that. And I'll zero in on that with a little bit more clarity here when we get to about midweek next week. So, all right. So Jeff wants to know about VeChain. So, okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. I'll jump back. I got to get on top of these things for you guys, because otherwise I get to, you know me, I get to prattling on here, and I'll end up talking about God knows what. So let's get to that. And by the way, you guys are just joining live stream. Apparently, my super chats are working. So if you guys are new to live streaming, you're not subscribed, and hey, let's see what this guy thinks. Throw me a bone here, man. I'll talk about it. Jeff's a subscriber, so obviously he gets one on the house. But if you guys are new to live stream and like what I do or want to support the channel, always like those bones, man. We always, that goes to a good cause. By the way, since we're talking about that. I do donate all of my live stream, or I will be donating. And that was my intent. Is I do want to be donating all of my live stream stuff to the local homeless. So you guys that are that $20 is going to go right down to the homeless and help feed and do whatever needs to be done to the homeless. So any money that I make here on live stream will always be donated from this point forward. That's my first official $20 from coming in on. They must have just turned on my super chats or something like that. But anybody that wants to donate to super chats for charting or opinions or whatever you want to hear my input on something, all that goes straight to them. 100% of it goes straight to the homeless and to the needy here locally in the Chicagoland area. So just to let you know. All right, so let's take a look at VeChain. So you want that on 15 minute. All right, no problem. Let's take a little bit more broader look. I'll tell you something that's just dawned on me. We really have not talked about this, and some of you guys that are recent followers of the channel don't understand what all these dotted lines are, and we have not talked about these for a lot because I've been working one-day charts, which are not part of this. This is part of what we call the unfair advantage grid, and these are pulse markers, and I'll explain this later on. We'll get back to talking about pulse markers, but basically this is a way to predict when markets are pumping and dumping. So you can see. Looking at it, it's tracking and tracing just beautifully. We crested right at a pulse marker and we're dropping. So right now on the 15, I'll tell you what, I've been favoring the one-day charts here, Jeff. So I'm gonna take a look at this right now. But basically, in the short term, I'm not seeing anything that really trips my trigger as far as what's going on for an overall move. So let's take a little more broader. Yeah, there's your answer right there. So basically we're expected to probably fall into the nickel range. And I think I covered this on last live stream. I don't know if you heard that. But I think we're going to still continue to be inside of this. So I think what's likely is we'll probably be right in this general area right here. But ultimately, I think we're going to fall below that in stages. You know how these things work. So for the next 120 hours or so, I would expect probably to give you a straight answer, slightly above a nickel would be a good buying opportunity for VeChain. And I can tell you if I always have to say if we see this next week become something that I'm expecting it to become, would not surprise me to see this thing pump right back up here to the top of the channel. So what kind of money can we scrape off for ourselves there? See that number? 40%. I run to the side of caution anytime I see big numbers like that. But I will tell you that over a course of a couple of days, and it'll be a few days of feel good. When we get into this upward market, so we could very easily go 3, 4, 5, 7 days, something like that. So don't take your profit on day one. So it is highly conceivable that you could very well, from the bottom red line to the top of this trend line here, see that 40% return. And I'm talking to you guys that are the McDonald's money guys. You have my permission to play this. This is an excellent play for someone who's got very little scratch to throw down. At VeChain, at any of these prices, even right now, we're a nickel. Well, we're just 6 cents right now. Even if you threw it at this right now and just walked away from it, you're gonna be just fine. This is gonna treat you really, really well in the future. And again, you're not going to retire when you're buying McDonald's money bags of this stuff, even at 5, 6 cents. But again, to take $500, turn it into 750,000, 1,200, whatever. That's more than a lot of people have probably ever seen. So. I'm going to be doing a small series. I'm going to just because it's become an adopted term here on the channel, McDonald's money. I just I get to talking and you guys just kind of adopt my funny little sayings. And I really I want to do a series specifically for you guys. You know, what would I buy if I had McDonald's money? And I woke up, my brilliant idea of today is I kind of want to do a couple of live streams where we just talk about what if I've got no money whatsoever. And so look forward to that coming up this week because I'm going to be, and what you'll see is you'll see a Doge dog with a McDonald's hat on. Anytime you see that logo or anytime you see that picture in the video, you'll know that I'm speaking to you McDonald's money guys. So I'm probably going to do 3 or 4 videos where we're going to pick out some charts like VeChain. We're going to talk about them and we're going to talk about what you can expect to do. And I'll lay it bare and let you know exactly what you can expect as I see it in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. So it's on you to exhibit the patience to see it through. But I'll give you the roadmap to getting there. But it's on you to be able to sit it out and wait for it. Are you not? I'm clipping right now, so I know my mic is fine. You might want to turn your stuff up, cover. Everybody else hearing me okay? Because my mic is. I've got a headphone on right now that's basically clipped around the back of my head, so you might want to check your settings because I'm just sitting right at clipping right now. So I'm maxed out on my settings. We better address this, make sure everybody can hear me okay. You guys all hear me okay? Perfectly fine? Yeah. I good? Sorry. I apologize. You know what I think it is, guys? I think what it is I've got 6 gigantic monitors here. And I used to have a gaming Chase swapped out my on my graphics card. I had just a gigantic graphics card for doing CAD stuff and stuff like that for my business, but we had to put in a different graphics card that has 6 outputs, and it's not exactly the greatest graphics card, and it does rob an awful lot. I noticed, like when I try to, I was showing this when I try to do any kind of straight lines, I get these juddery, See, I haven't had a flowing line like that for a while. Every once in a while, if I try to like do lines like that, usually it'll end up being kind of jiggity and stuff like that. So it just depends upon the mood of the computer. So it's not me. It's not the settings. It's the graphics card. I think that has something to do with my voice going up and down. So I apologize for that. And I don't know because I don't wear headphones, so I'm not listening to myself as I talk. So if you ever hear that, just say something. We'll pause and adjust or whatever. So all right. Sorry, I didn't mean to get too far offline here. So all right. So anyway, as I was saying, if you guys didn't hear me, is we're going to do 3 or 4 different series for guys that have McDonald's money and stuff like that. And we're going to cover, what would I buy and that sort of thing. So be looking for that here probably in the upcoming week or whatever, because I think now more than ever, we're getting into the final points of time now where people are going to have to get on the lifeboats because these suppressed prices, if you want to call them suppressed, these lower prices that we're seeing, they're not going to last forever. This is we're not going to have a great year. This is not going to be the year of the pump. 2023 will be. Uh, Going into fall will be with the ISO coins and stuff like that. So tick tock, time's a wasting. So all right. So again with XDC is, and again this would be another McDonald's money. I don't know. Depends on how much a damn Big Mac is going to cost you in the future. It might be a sideways bet. All right. So to get back on this, sorry, I'm keeping up. I tell you what, a little story here, and I'll get back to what I'm doing here. I'm just sorry. I get the I have to apologize to you guys that don't know me very well. I have a Scottish descent, and if you don't know, if you don't know Scottish people, we have a tendency to speak whatever pops into our mind. It's not a well-known thing, but it is a true thing. And you kind of get that thing and just talk about me. And once I talk about it, then I can move on with whatever. But that's kind of just the way Scottish people are. We tend to kind of get something in our head, and we have to kind of get it out of there so we can kind of clear the dry erase board and get on with whatever. So if I see something or I want to comment on something, I have to kind of finish what I'm saying there. So. All right. So XDC, it's interesting because I told you guys, the McDonald's money people, and really all of you, honestly, this is going to be one of those ISO coins. This is going to be probably a fantastic investment for really any level of you guys. And I'm waiting just like you. I'm waiting. Let's go ahead and zero in on this a little bit. I'm waiting down here and probably around about the, what did I say before? Probably right down here in this general area. I've got the patience because I'm busy doing other stuff with theta and whatnot. But this is not going to come easy. It's not going to come immediate. But we're looking at, and we want to kind of look at the top of this box to kind of be. We're looking at the need to get down here to an area where I'm suggesting you can buy. We're looking at a need of a 50% drop from what's already a drop in and of itself. And the truth of the matter is like, yeah, it's not going to happen immediately because this coin. Let me speak to this. This coin does not do radical moves often. Often it does happen, but it's more inclined to do these little excruciating, tiny, tiny, tiny little moves. And most of this is bots, if I'm being real honest. They're trying to put this thing slowly but surely somewhere. Where it is, I can pretty much assure you. Now, again, I have mentioned to you that this is something I didn't want to mention. I woke up with the idea that I wanted to kind of teach you guys something because we're going to add a new little indicator to the charts, or a new little way of me motioning. So you guys know this little wavy thing that I do usually at 50%. So if a TA move is from, let's say, $1 to $2, 50% of that is halfway. I'll do like a little wavy line indicating 50% of move. 75% has gotten to be a thing. I really was studying the charts all night last night, and it's a legitimate thing. It's starting to happen. So let me show you something really quick, that what I'm going to start doing from now on. If you see this and you're confused by it, and you're wondering why I don't do these little waves anymore, or if you don't see them with the frequency that you used to, I'm going to start doing this a little differently. Let me show you what I've got in mind here to kind of. I try not to booger the charts up too much with too much garbage, but more information. There's nothing wrong with more information. So let's take this as a typical TA call. We'll just call that orange, just to be so my OCD doesn't bother me. So this is a TA call, for example. So let's say this theoretical crypto is going to go from 0.03319 to 0.05227, whatever. So this would be what a TA would mandate. Now, normally what I would do is I would say, okay, well, just so you know, there's 50% of the call is right in this general area here. We're probably going to stop here, and we've seen this umpteen times. A crypto will go, it'll hit that'll be the end of the party, and down we go. But then I started to notice 75%. So 75% is becoming a thing now because they've adjusted the algorithms. I think I'm of the mind that, they're throwing us a curveball where they give us, all right, people are starting to notice that they don't go all the way. Let's give them a little bit more and make them think, let's take it right back away. So we're starting to see that. Now, what I don't want to do is I don't want to start making all these hash marks all over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it this way. So when you start to see this, you'll understand what you're looking at. When you see a box from the 50% to the 75% minus this, let's do it like that. When you see something like this, that's indicating to you a 50% at the bottom, a 75% at the top. Take those levels seriously, kids, because basically here's what I'm telling you is that's going to be a level, that could be a level. So obviously you can always kind of look at the TA point, but I don't really honestly these days don't really take full TA seriously. I really don't, because it just is not playing to full effectiveness. You can see that over and over and over again. Here's one right here. It basically came down, hit that 50%, dipped down, wick down. They're just not going full stroke. The TA would mandate that it is. So when I see this line right here, I'm not taking it seriously. I'm really, honest to God, I'm really looking at the top, at the 75%. So right here on this ISIS line. So when XDC, to speak specifically to XDC, when XDC moves, I would not be the least little bit surprised to see it probably in about the 0.28, no, we'll just call it 0.28, 0.289, right in that range. 75%. I would probably be throwing my money in right here, not waiting for this line, because even though the TA will suggest it, I would, better to get a big old hunk of some of it than to get 100% of none of it. So this is going to be something that you're now going to start to see. Could be any color. So don't the colors. My OCD would mandate that has to be the same color as the arrow, because I can't sleep right if I don't if my stuff doesn't match. So that's an indicator you're going to start to see. So if you see that, what I want you to do again to kind of recap, pay attention to the top of that line, because that's wherever your arrowhead is, it could be the reverse going down or whatever. When you see this, pay attention to the top of that, because that's a height marker. So those will play out, as we've seen a lot lately. So just wanted to kind of let everybody know so you're not confused by this, because it's a lot to ingest when you see all these lines going all over. So you guys that are new on live stream and stuff like that, hang with me for a while. It takes a while to learn this stuff. I mean, you can't look at this and go, holy shit, what's this guy talking about? I've gotten a few of those private messages, so I'm like, one of these days I'm going to get some time to sit down and redo. I have a 45-minute video that kind of explains the original way that we did with pulse markers and stuff like that. Still valid, but I'm going to have to update it to include some of these new indicators and stuff like that. So that is on my to-do list. So we are currently spending most of our time working on the affiliate system and getting that all stretched out. So if you guys are get all that all put together, so if you guys want to be a part of the affiliate system, obviously let's take a break here for real quick and I'll get back to charts. If you guys want to be a part of the affiliate system, we are actively live and running right now. People are signing up big time. So if you want to do that, simply join us at the unfairadvantage.chat, which is right here. And just find me, Red Baron, at Red Baron, REDBARRON. Send me a message. Say, hey, I want to be in the affiliate. And you don't have to be a subscriber to do that. You can come on in to the unfairadvantage.chat, join our general group. If you want to be an affiliate and you want to make some money, I'll pay you very, very well for, and it will continue month after month after month. And of course, if you guys would like to be a part of the charts and subscribe to my daily spaghetti works here on the charts, you can do that starting at $29.95. We'd love to have you be a part of our larger VIP network, which is the my daily calls and all my interactions that I do every single day, 365, 24/7 sometimes. But that starts at gold level, which is $124.95 a month. And if you guys want to get in on the more premium stuff that includes more charts and more calls and more stuff like that, that would be at the VIP platinum level. So most guys are coming in at gold, once they make a little bit of money. It's been a slow year, but most guys do end up upgrading up into platinum. And of course, Platinum Pro, which is using my trading platform, which is this one right here. So, but nonetheless, you can still get involved in the unfairadvantage.chat. We'd love to have you be a part of that. All right. you can get on the dollar menu. You can get on the dollar menu cover. You can get on the dollar menu. It's hard. I watch some of these guys, and I'm sorry, I've just got a whole bunch of stuff to address here. So I watch some of these guys that trade. They're buying $50 worth of crypto here and $50 worth of crypto, and that's fine if that's all you got. I mean, the thing, and I've said this many, many times, you're not going to buy it on Monday and sell it on Tuesday. You're not, or you shouldn't, because you're going to have to hold that stuff for a while. You're just going to have to treat it like money that you lost in the sofa cushion. You really are. Because if you want to buy, and I don't care even if you're buying some of these ICO stuff, ICOs just aren't what they used to be. But, if you're buying one of these emerging coins or whatever, let's just say XDC for the sake, if you're buying XDC and you've got, I don't know, less than $1,000 or whatever, you're going to have to sit on that stuff for a while. And by a while, I mean not months, I mean years to see stuff like that. But is it worth it? Yeah, but it might be the first time you've ever controlled yourself that long. I know, the I could get into a whole completely different broadcast, but I do specialize in foreclosures. I was the largest non-corporate landowner in my state for a number of years. Thousands of houses, thousands of people I've sat at their kitchen table and watched them. And you don't get into foreclosure by running your money the right way. So I know how poverty is built. I know how wealth is built. And I can tell you that one of the number one things that most people who find themselves, most, not all, most people who find themselves in foreclosures, they lack one characteristic: lack of self-control. They cannot control. Oh my God, I got to get that brand new 60-inch big screen TV, or I got to get that new iPhone. That shit will kill you. I'm telling you right now, it will rob your future. And so you have to develop the characteristic of self-control. So I've been demonstrating this a lot with the trades that I've been doing lately. You're watching. I lead by example on this channel. When I do something, I'm showing you. Yeah, I'm down on sushi swap right now, but I'm purposely taking that hit. I'm down on one knee to show you I am in this for the long haul. So I've gotten a few private messages like, why wouldn't you just sell that at a loss and move on? Because I understand the bigger game. So I'm demonstrating to you. I'm holding sushi swap right now. I'm negative on it, but I already know where the charts are going. I'm willing to wait. I understand the value of time, value of money. I'm going to be justly rewarded for it. So I'm going to be okay. I've lessened my position, stuff like that, but I want to show you guys how the big money plays the game. So, I started many, many times from zero, coming back from the Philippines when I was dead busted broke, came back and built multi-million-dollar business again. So it can be done, guys. I'm here to help you. I'm here to kind of give you the advice and give you the guidance and stuff like that. So listen to me, but you still have to apply personal power, personal preservation, and you have to exhibit self-control to be able to see this. Everybody, we live in a world of instant gratification, and that's crypto. I just commented on this before going on to live stream to somebody. Crypto does pay very, very well, but it's still subject to the laws of investment. Time. It takes time to build these things. You hear grass is always greener on the other side of the market, as so it speaks. You hear these guys, oh my God, this guy bought a coin, and oh my God, now he's got a mansion and a Lamborghini and whatever. I want to do that, so I'm going to take my McDonald's money and I'm going to do that, and it's not panning out for you. And then you go jump on another one and another one and another one. And I've seen this many, many times. Some people in this chat, I've watched $250,000 drop to $60,000 because it got too exuberant and buying coin after coin after coin. Had to learn patience. I'm not going to call you out, but you're in the chat. I had to speak very harshly to this guy, and I said, you got to knock that off, and he took it to heart and he listened to me. So you got to exhibit patience with this stuff. But crypto is magnificent. It will give you much faster returns than you would ever get, even in real estate. I'm not in real estate anymore, and some of these other things like gold, silver, et cetera, et cetera. But again, you have to kind of exhibit the patience to let this stuff grow. You don't put a seed in the ground on Monday and go, "Where's my fucking tree?" It takes you a while. These oak trees take a while to grow. All right, so let's get back to this. I'm sorry, I've just been one of those days. I got a lot on my mind here. So here's an oak tree that's never going to grow. As far as this is a weed tree, is what this is. Uh, Again, I have to gloat. Sorry, I just do. I told you I was going to give it all back. I told you, I told you, I told you. And here it is, handing it all back on a silver platter. This did not surprise me at all. Fell out of bed, came out of the channel. I mean, that channel, honest to God, really, really wasn't really much of a channel. I just kind of put it there to track and verify what I was believing. But it is giving it back. So if you guys are screwing with this thing, I just don't see any reason for it. Let me go back here and let's take that out because that's played. You can see this is not a good story.
we've got support and resistance right here. Very strong support and resistance here. It's likely we'll pump again. You know, we're going to have to fall probably to a penny and a half, slightly above a penny and a half, and then of course, obviously, it can jump and stuff like that. You can make flip money if you want to, but you guys are invested. And again, I was with you. I had millions of these damn things. Um, I don't. I'm out. I'm out. For whatever reason, this coin just does not want to play nice. So I refuse to involve myself in it anymore. But I do believe that it will probably get down to about a penny, penny and a half, and bounce back up again. But you've got small windows of profit where you can make 25, 30, 40, 50% on those boosts and stuff like that. But you never know when they're coming because they're so irrational. They're not. I mean, look at the gaps on the pumps. They're not exactly timed like a populous where they just go very predictable between the pumps. They just come when they come, and so not a game I want to play. Not with my money. How long until the housing market dumps? That's a very involved question that I can answer it. I do know. It's not. Sorry if I'm irritating some of you guys. Or why don't you just get to the charts? I'm sorry. There's a lot going on here to talk about. I will get through this, but the housing market, much like the stock market, Greg Manarino and I are of the same belief. We're not going to have a crash, air quotes, heavy air quotes. We're not going to have a crash. What we're going to see is we're going to see housing prices basically we've covered this in past live streams and in the round table one we talked about this, or round table 1 or 2 we talked about this. Uh, Basically the goal is BlackRock is to buy up all these houses, make you a tenant in your own house. So the houses prices won't fall necessarily. Um, what you're going to see is everybody's just going to be priced out of them, and everybody's going to be forced into public housing and stuff. So real estate price crashing isn't necessarily going to happen. But here's one of the things, and I'll address this and then I'll move on. So let's look at Michigan, for example, in the 2008 housing crisis. What happened? This is how it's going to happen. I have this giant picture in my head I want to try and describe to you guys, then we'll get back to this. So the housing is going to work like this. BlackRock, who has free money, unlimited money, paper, fake ass money, whatever you want to call it, they're buying up all these houses. That's step one. Okay. Once you own it all and you got basically free money, we all know they could pay whatever they want to pay because they're not using quote unquote real money, right? I mean, you can't win against that system. So if you can print your own money, it's like, yeah, I'll give you $1 billion for your little 2-bedroom fishing shack, whatever. They'll do it. They'll do it because that money doesn't mean anything to them. It's not real money to them. And they've got an unlimited supply of it. So what's the end game? Well, the end game is there's certain areas they're going to want to hold, and there's certain areas they're going to want to fold. Now, we've never talked about this, but I don't believe I've ever mentioned this. But what's going to happen? We can look no further than the housing crisis or the housing crash of 2008 to 2010, right in that range. In Michigan, it was abysmal. I mean, whole neighborhoods were wiped out. And that's what you're going to see again. You're going to see a lot of it in California. So basically, BlackRock's buying up. Let's say BlackRock comes in and buys up a whole neighborhood. So we'll call neighborhood A and neighborhood B. Neighborhood A will be an area where, okay, we want to develop this area. Neighborhood B, we just want to get everybody out of that area. Okay, well, they bought all these houses, so what are they going to do with it? Well, for a while, they're going to turn them into low rent housing or housing, whatever. But when they're ready, again, you're a tenant in that house. When they say it's time to go, it's time to go. They'll move you into a human chicken coop or whatever you want to do. But eventually, they're just going to doze those houses, and there's going to be less houses. So look for this. Remember that guy on the internet told me this was going to happen. I was the largest non-corporate landowner in the state I lived in. I know what I'm talking about. I rub elbows with probably the top 5 real estate investors in the United States. I know what the game plan is. What you're going to see is you're going to see these houses are going to be rented out as step one. Well, step one is they're basically going to price you out of it through foreclosure, because now it's been a while since I've been watching this, but there are people still living in houses that they haven't made a mortgage payment on in 3 fucking years. And that's not normal, kids. It doesn't happen that way. Foreclosure takes 12 months to get somebody on the bricks. And there's people that are 3 and sometimes almost 3.5 years of living in their house. There is no way they're going to get caught up unless they win the lottery, literally. And so what's going to happen is BlackRock's going to go there. They're going to throw this offer. They're going to say, all right, well, here's what we'll do. We'll rent you back the house. Just give us, just sign it over here so we don't have to go through foreclosure and all that ugly, uncomfortable stuff. We'll let you stay in the house, and we'll just agree that basically you'll be a tenant. Now, there's a side story to that. So the laws are being changed that you know nothing about right now. So if I were to be, I have to kind of tell this little sub story to kind of help you understand exactly how in control these guys are. If I were to be a landlord anymore in my state, and if I were to buy a single family house, I would have to go down to the city. They'd have to inspect the house. They'd have to, okay, make sure all the light switches are this way, and all the, has a fence on it, and the handrails are safe, and there's no lead for the kids to chew on and get stupid because they're eating paint chips or whatever. All of that stuff would have to happen. And I'd have to write checks, and I'd have to spend an awful lot of time getting that thing in full compliance before I could ever dream of turning that into a rental. Now, BlackRock, let me give you a comparison. BlackRock don't have to do that because they've already changed the laws. You know nothing about this, but I do. They've already changed the laws that they fall into a different category called reclamation. When they reclaim these houses through foreclosure or through basically mortgage or sign overs, that falls into a different category. And so they are basically renting back the house to the people who formerly owned the house, and so it's not a transfer of occupants; it's a transfer of ownership. And so, in comparison to this is a far-fetched thing, but if you want to know how these little bastards can change laws to their liking, look no further than the jab. Notice how you guys all know that they passed the laws first about how the drug companies can't be sued, and then they rolled out all the bad shit. This is exactly what they're doing right now. They've already passed the laws that they can rent you back your house, etc., etc. They can, I can't. I just went through a 5-year ordeal and a couple $100,000 lawsuit settling the exact same thing, which was absolute nonsense. And but BlackRock, I ain't BlackRock. They could do it. I can't. And that was a law change that came through the Dodd-Frank Act while I was living in the Philippines. And so to get back on this, what they're planning on doing is step one is they're basically going to go, and somebody's going to come knocking on the door. They're going to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm from ABC Corporation, a subsidiary of BlackRock, and we'd like to work something out with you. You're good folks. You've been here for 6, 7, 8 years, whatever. We don't want to see you lose the house. We're not here to make your life difficult and all this sweet horse shit that they do. And they're going to say, all right, well, here's the deal. We're going to make you an offer. It's too good to refuse. And you sign right here, which you give your house possession. You sign over, you forego foreclosure. You're giving a deed in lieu of foreclosure is the exact terminology that you're looking at. And what they do is they sign that over, and they say, okay, now step 2, you sign this other piece of paper. You're going to rent back your house. So now you are a renter in a house that you worked in your dream house you now no longer own. Somebody else does, and you pay them, BlackRock, or subsidiary of BlackRock, whatever. And so that's step 1. Now, when they get the masterpieces in place on the chessboard, they're going to look at the chessboard, being the United States and Canada, actually, and they're going to say, all right, so here's a certain area that we want to be in, and here's a certain area we want to go back to natural land. We want to move the population west, or we want to move the population south. We'll just start closing off neighborhoods. Little by little, really close your eyes and picture how this works. It doesn't just happen immediately. Picture a grid where, okay, everybody on the left side of the grid, we're going to try to push everybody to the right side of the grid. So we're just going to start cutting houses little by little, sending a few notes here in the neighborhood, a few notes there in the neighborhood. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Johnson, Mr. and Mrs. Adams. We're no longer going to rent the house. You're going to have to find something. Thank you for working with us or whatever. We've decided to go another way. And so Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Mr. and Mrs. Adams, and little by little, you're going to see these occupants leave. It won't just be Monday, whole neighborhood gone. There'll be a little here, a little there. It's very devious, very devious. And yes, that map was developed decades ago, Sharon. You're completely right. I've seen the map. It's it's decades ago. I'm 54 years old. This happened well before I was in my 20s, and so they know this. And so what they're going to do is they're going to close off certain areas. And now when they get that empty, that's going to fall into blight. And then you, of course, obviously, then you get what you see in Michigan. Now that was not a mistake in Michigan. That was not just a certain area. And that was, by the way, that was Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan. When I say Michigan, I don't mean that. Basically, the Rust Belt, the automotive industry, that whole area was a planned. But what's gone on with that? It now what you see is you see just shelled out houses, but what was the net effect? They knocked a lot of those houses down, turned it into public area. Well, see, public area is another way to say government controlled property. Get off, you're not allowed. And so what you're going to start to see, the 21 group has looked at this. I've known about it long before this, but there's going to be certain zones in America where you're just not allowed to go. And so your world is about to get much, much smaller. And I hate to be the guy that tells you this for the first time if you've never learned this, but there's going to be certain zones where certain parts of America they're just no longer open to the public. What are they doing with it? Well, that would be your Billy Gates and his farming communities. Your neighborhood might very well be a farm in the future. Your neighborhood might very well be a farm for some other country like China in the future. It's very possible. A little bit, yeah. A little bit. All right, sorry. Just every once in a while, it's fun to kind of get on a tangent and stuff like that. So I've got a lot of oars in the water, guys. There's a lot going on in my mind. All right, so let's get on to something that matters here. So you guys, this is a crypto channel. So if you guys are new on live stream, we get on these little tangents once in a while, but it's always fun to listen. If you're just in crypto and you're not paying attention to the rest of the world, you might be in for a rude awakening when someone comes knocking on your door to tell you your world has changed. You go, well, I was so busy paying attention to crypto. You're like, you don't want to do that. It's always good to take a broad perspective on what's going on. All right, so theta is what we're watching here. So tweezers, there you go. Now, okay, so now here it is, 7:30, half hour ago, we had a new candle open. So that was this candle. So let's go ahead and start at the top here and take a look and see what's going on. So our alligator, so let's get that. Our snapdragon is still pushing down. While we're up here, our bubble is going in. We talked about a throat, how it's not flaring, it's not condensing. It's just kind of going sideways. So we are kind of getting a throat. It's not quite indicating an up-down direction yet. But here's what I want you to pay attention to. Theta has something to show you. You can see how I'm getting that little wave right there. You can see my graphics card starting to get overloaded again. Anytime I do that right there, that's a pretty clear indicator. So that audio problems I was having earlier, you can see it in my graphics card when I try to draw a diagonal. I can't get a smooth line. So I wish there was a way to kind of boost my RAM so I wouldn't have that problem, but it's just something I have to live with. All right, so we got both the long count and the short count are trending down. There is our 120 hour, our basically our week from now. So within this area here, we're still trending down. And again, theta is front running the market still currently front running the market. So even though you're seeing a pump right now, currently I'm not seeing something that leads me to believe that it's going to blast. And if it did blast, that's your support and resistance right there. Actually, probably a little bit lower than that. So I'm not necessarily feeling it's going to be anything that's going to get out of control. It might wick up, but it'll drop back down. So I'm putting my full faith and confidence in these cycle waves, but right there should be round about the bottom. So, and then this is indicative of the entire market. So you want to make sure you're paying attention to that. But this, as I told you guys earlier, so you can see that, let's start at the bottom here. You can see the RSI is spiking way up, but we are not in the purple yet. See how many times we've crossed and uncrossed and crossed and uncrossed? Don't necessarily take that as gospel that we're going to the moon. Take a broader perspective. Look, we've still got a lot of living to do underneath this purple here. So this doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be blasting off. So this is not a strong indicator yet. We're still in safety territory. We could go into a second session of red, or second camel hump, if you want to call it. Very much so. So right now, basically, we're 3 out of 5 indicators are kind of indicating that this, even though we are at the top of that candle, may be much ado about nothing. So I wouldn't be too terribly worried about it just yet. So all these calls, all this stuff is still very much in motion. Now, as you can very clearly see here, I labeled this for the diamonds and for the platinum plus people. Ultimate bottom call window. Where do I see this going? Right here. Into the lighter green area. We have 2 different shades here. If you get into the darker green, it's going to be a miracle and probably a wick so fast you don't even know what hit you. But I believe that we will be on or in this lighter green area at the end of the rainbow. So where we're at from current position to the top of that box, it's only a 23% move, guys. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's a couple of 12s. A 10 and a whatever, a 10 and a 13% candle. It's nothing. We can get there in no time at all. I mean, we've seen them. There's one right here, one right here, one right here. So well within the wheelhouse of possibility. So I believe that we will, in this short period of time, if things continue to go on and trend the way they should over the next 120 hours, we should probably trend down here in this general area right here. So you guys are itching to trade stuff. I want to speak to this also. A lot of you guys are just looking for something to buy. My attention is on Theta and on tfuel, and yours should be too. I believe right now, currently, it makes the most sense to be watching those coins, and really nothing else, because A, they're a front-running coin. B, they have use case. C, they've acted very predictably. They're following the charts. We've got the indicators that so far they haven't forsaken anything I've shown you so far. And again, in D, they're at a price that very attractive. I mean, if would you honestly feel bad? I've said this a trillion times. I'll say it again. Would you honestly feel bad, given the fact that this coin has achieved a damn near $16 price high, buying it at $3? I wouldn't. And so, we're basically looking at shaving off 50 cents more on this before we hit the bottom and start climbing. If you miss the bottom and you just, you buy anywhere in here, I'm not gonna feel like you've robbed your future, because this is a damn good price. This is a damn good price. Let me give you one more little feel good thing about this, and it really is a feel good thing. From currently where we are right now to 200 EMA, that's a 40% rise. If you bought this right now, I'm not suggesting you do. If you bought this right now because you just can't control yourself, and you say, okay, I got to buy it right now because I don't trust myself or whatever, I suck at trading. If you bought it right now, you're sitting 40% underneath the 200 EMA right now. And we all know the rule. I've shown you this 1,000 times. We always go home. That's a 40% return on your money. And that's right there, currently, statically. That number will come down, or that EMA will come down, the coin will go up, or the candles will go up, whatever. But currently, as we sit here standing, that's around about 38 to 40% return on your money. Not too shabby. Now, the party's not over at that. I mean, we will go above that 200 EMA. And of course, we'll go much higher than that. Future price on this thing, a couple years from now, we're looking at that $3,600 that we've talked about. It's been a while since we've mentioned that, but Theta, when it gets into full-blown use case here in the next couple of years, holy cow, guys! I mean, you talk about life changing. This one's life changing. We've got a couple of old school Theta investors here. They're going to be multi millionaires of nothing but this coin. You know, can you join their ranks at $3? You know, you can be amongst the many. Um, why is it different? I don't want to get back into mortgages. I don't want to. Reverse mortgages are I'll address this here real quick. A reverse mortgage is basically the casino wins. What you're doing is you're selling your house back piece by. It's kind of like a lease on a truck. You know, you say, oh, you could, you know, like a gold key lease on a truck back in the 1990s. Chrysler had something called a gold key lease. Well, you can lease this truck because I had one because I was a stupid kid. You know, you can lease this truck, but at the end, you know, pay $1 and you can buy the truck or whatever, or you can just turn it in. What a reverse mortgage is it's a tax strategy so that you know if you're a baby boomer, let's say you don't have any kids, you don't have anybody to hand that house down to or whatever, and you just like you know for some people it makes sense, for most people it's just a freaking scam. But basically what they're doing is they're paying you little by little by little by little on your house or they're giving you a value of your house, and you're basically you're paying them back a little bit. So what the casino is doing is hoping you'll die and they'll get their house. They'll get your house. So that's a difference. So massive difference. But yeah, if any of you guys ever get approached with a reverse mortgage, uh, don't take it. Don't take it. They're not being offered quite the way they were because most of the baby boomers have gotten so old and gotten themselves sucked into it at this point in time. But yeah, reverse mortgages were a huge thing back in the 90s and early 2000s. But you know, it's not a good idea. It's almost like timeshares on a condo. Don't do it. All right. So anyway, let's get off of this and get on to T fuel here. So back as I was saying, T fuel for me, this is really the play that I want to be in. So we popped out of this channel a little bit here. We'll redo this. So we did get down here. So I want to show you also. So this box right here, I just put this box as not a call box. I just highlighted that because I wanted to be last night. It was like 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and I had this on my upper screen, and I wanted to be able to just look up real fast and see, you know, are we in the box or not? And so we dipped into the box. Let me zip into that real quick. You know, we flirted with it last night. We hit the half channel absolutely perfectly, pinged off that half channel, and then that was it. And then up she's going. So I'll go ahead and take this out for right now. So that was just there to help highlight, keep my eyeballs straight. Um, so when I put that thing, I said should get better. I made that note right there. It did get better. Went to the half point. So have we gone off script and are we going up? Well, let's look right here. So we're starting. Starting doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to finish, but we're starting to show indicators that this is getting positive. So it very well could go. Um, looking at the bubble, well, we're starting to get into the purple here. Looking at the bubble, we're getting into a neck, which is a neutral formation. Now, I had hung my hat on the idea that we're going to go into a second or extended session of red here, which we very well still could. So it's looking like it's going to trend up a little bit, a little bit. Now, am I going to throw my money in and chase it because it's not going to come down here and am I better buy? No. So what I expect to have happen in the short term is we can already see there's your support and resistance. So I'll redraw that a little bit better. I would expect if we see any upwards motion, it'll reject off of that line right there. I'll go ahead and make that yellow again. I would expect it would reject off of that because we came down exactly to 50% this time. We didn't go to the 75. I had it all marked out, ready to go. So, you know, this is what I'm saying. If I put that little box in there when I'm showing you 50 and I'm showing you 75, you can see how it's still, we haven't completely forsaken the 50% mark yet. But we're getting there. I can see trends that we're starting to favor 75% moves. Um, So anyway, back to this. Where are we at? We're just basically sideways for now. So today is Monday. We just opened up another candle, which is nothing. We very well could. Let's get into this here. We very well could get no higher than this right here. And then this candle by later tonight, middle of the night. A lot of you guys don't stay up with me in the middle of the night trading this stuff and watching. I do most of my notations overnight when the China market is open. China is going to be open for business here in about an hour and a half. So, hour and a half from now, you're going to see something, as we always do. Monday morning. Now, by the way, this is they are roughly about 12 hours earlier than us. So when it's 8 o'clock in the morning here in Chicago, it is 8 o'clock at night the next day there. And so they're always ahead of us. So this is not their Monday. This is going on into their Tuesday right now. But that being said, China is going to come online here in about roughly less than 2 hours. And when they do, they're gonna start moving the market. Now it's possible, like I said, we could come up here. It's only 5-6% tops. You can see that candle. We have an opening move there, a secondary closing move there. We haven't talked about that for a while. So this formation is closed. So we're looking to do something new here. So my thought is, I think we're basically just going to continue on much like we were doing here. I can kind of move this if I really wanted to. I could probably still, yeah, I could probably still pick up a. We may still be in just a modified version of that channel there. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I like that. These channels are funny things. You can find all kinds of confirmation if you squint long enough. Um, I don't really think there's cause to worry about this pumping just yet. So effectively, what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting to come to the bottom of this channel, give me my 75%, and I might very well consider doing a safety buy, and then when we come into the better buy, grabbing this, catching a bounce going into that 120-hour later deal. But ultimately, down here. By the way, guys, can you help my algorithm out if you're liking what I'm doing here? Please support the channel and please give me a little thumbs up. I don't beg for thumbs up very often, but I want to see what kind of statistical difference I get out of thumbs up. If you could just tick the thumbs up for me, please, I would appreciate that. Because we don't I'm not one of those guys that whores out for that kind of stuff, but it really does affect the algorithms. And I'm not doing any paid advertising anymore to promote the channel because YouTube's basically just sending bots after my advertising budget. So screw them. I'm not going to do that. All right, so I did want to talk about this one because this is one that I do donate to you guys to take a look at. And again, another 75% move. So this one's making a pretty clear, and let's go ahead and take that out. This is making a pretty clear indication where it's flagging very predictably where it should continue to go down. So really, you guys that are watching this that don't have access to the charts and stuff like that, ultimately there's nothing to say on this until we get right here to the magic zone, and it's going to happen. You can very clearly see that we're heading that direction. We've got a little bit of a trend here. We have to break that trend line, but once we come through that trend line and come down here in the next, we'll just say the next 30 days or so. Once we come down into that area, then you go ahead and you pull the trigger and you buy this thing and you sit it out and wait. I do want to look at Zill. Yeah, there's the give back. So I told you we'd be settling down at about here, and that's exactly what we did. We pinged right off the dual AI line right here, and we're settling. So now, will we reload and go up from here? We might get a second wave, guys. I'm too soon to call this a triple wave. I don't believe that it would be, but ultimately, I told you where I think we're going is we're going right. We're going to eventually find our way back down onto that white line there. But I think we might get that second. There's a word for it. I'm failing to come up with sympathy bounce. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I think we might get a sympathy bounce a little bit. But I do want to call your attention to anytime with a bounce. Where are we? We are above the 200 EMA. So again, we came way the hell up here. Of course, we're coming back down. Look where the 200 EMA is. That wasn't going to maintain. So it came back down. Now we're still above it. How far are we above it? Well, we are currently about 40%. Not an area I like to be in when I'm putting money down. So if you guys are getting any kind of a spunky attitude towards throwing some money in this, I would advise highly against it. You're 40% above the EMA. Your odds are not good for maintaining and holding ground. What you're expecting this line to turn and rise up as opposed to this drop down. Gravity wins, guys. Gravity wins. So ultimately, where I expect this to happen is to probably fall down to the green line here down, and from there you might get a sympathy bounce and stuff like that. There's safer places to put your money. I'll just call a spade a spade. T-fuel. This is not a safe project, especially not when you're 40% over. Now, again, conversely, let's take a look at this. We're below. We're below. So this is one of those deals where I'm just going to speak broadly. We're 27% below. This is on a one-day chart. Uh, I am seeing this going down still. We're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for this thing to get into that yellow box. We as I made the case on last live stream or the one before that. Uh, Hang on, Corey's got a question for me. What makes me think the deep state's going to win? I never said that. I never said that. When is I'm sorry, guys. You guys are dragging me all off topic here, all over the place. I never said they were going to win. You have to look at it this way, and I'll get back to Dent here in just a second. You have to look at the world is not a black and white thing. I think we can all kind of agree that. There's going to be certain things that are not going to work out so well for them. There's going to be many things that do. But can you look at your life? I was just out with Chase. We went to Lowe's. I'm putting in a privacy fence here this week, and I look at my town, and I look at the things that I look around and I see how much has changed from when I was a kid. I've told you guys, I'm 54 years old right now. I remember when I was 18 years old, the Toys R Us in my town opened up. I was on the crew that set up all the shelves. It was a good time. It was fun. Set up all the shelves for Toys R Us and stuff like that. And once the store opened, I quit working there because I didn't want to work at a toy store. But the month and a half of setup when Toys R Us was new to my area, and I drive by that and Toys R Us is not there anymore. I took note of the fact that Pier 1 Imports, which is in the same mini mall, you can see all the way through the building. So I without getting too Debbie Downer here, clearly things in our lives are changing around us so rapidly we're not taking notice of it. I almost wonder a little bit if some of this lockdown, some of this stay in your house kind of stuff is probably the residual effect of it is if you're locked in your house or you're hanging out in your house, you're not going out seeing how much the world is changing around you, but I do. But I do. And so I look around and I see these things. I'm like, Pier 1's never coming back. Toys R Us is never coming back. What's going to take over those buildings? Answer, nothing. Nothing. Because everything's going online. Years ago, I am an Amazon investor, by the way, full disclosure. So I have owned Amazon for probably better than 12 years because I knew what was going on. And the story, if you hear the story, to get about 5 or 6 more layers into the story of Jeff Bezos starting out in his garage and selling used books and whatever. That's not what built Amazon. Big angel money investors came in and saw his system, and they supercharged it. The CIA came in and took over his system and supercharged it. Jeff Bezos don't have a goddamn idea what's going on with his own business. He doesn't. He's not the guy that runs it ultimately. He's the figurehead. You've always got to have a figurehead. He's that. Do you seriously think that guy has a grip on it? Do you guys realize that Amazon Studios, which isn't even a serious thing, is bigger than all of Hollywood? Amazon Studios, they don't even really give a crap. I mean, some of you people may not even realize that you can go to prime.amazon.com with your Amazon thing, and you have access to more movies than you can get on Netflix. Free. It's part of your thing. Most of you guys probably don't even know that. And yet, Amazon Studios is larger than all of Hollywood put together. Do you think that happened with a guy selling used books out of his house? I don't think so. And so the deep state, I shy away from using that. The powers that be, I like to say it that way. Um, the powers that be have had an orchestrated plan for the world for a very, very long time. But not everything's going to work out according to their plan. Their plans don't work as well as our plans do, that sort of thing, But generally speaking, our lives are not going to be the same. We're going to spend a lot more time local. We're going to spend a lot more time isolated. We're going to spend a lot more time online, being monitored, being tracked, being traced. It's already happening. It's already happening. There's going to be less options for us, and I addressed this earlier with houses. There's going to be less options for us to go out and do anything. Um, Kind of another little thing that popped into my head here. Guys, I've been dying to speak on this. I will get back to the chart here in just a second. I have been dying to speak to this because it's just something. This has nothing to do with crypto. But you guys know that I'm single, and I usually tend to date girls that are under 30 years old. And I one of I might as well just tell this story. So Crypto Rich, some of you probably heard the bar story, and I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I do little bar tricks with hypnotherapy once in a while. And there's a cute story that goes with that. I'll tell sometime. But so these guys decided. So Jeff's Habit and Crypto Rich, who are two guys, two of our diamonds, decided because they thought it was cute with what I did to decide to sign me up for Plenty of Fish, which is a dating service, Plenty of Fish, POF.com, Plenty of Fish. And they signed me up last week. They said, hey, you're on Plenty of Fish. And I said, what is that? They said, oh, we put you on a dating site, and we paid for a year. I'm like, oh my god. So here's the takeaway. I'm up until ungodly hours of the night, and here's the interesting thing. I'm very observant of things that most people are not, and so when I'm talking to these girls that are popping up in my feed. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just having one of those days where I will get to business here eventually. I apologize if some of you guys dig this. Some of you guys, that drives you nuts, I know. But I get to chat with some of these girls, and I'm looking at the girls, but I'm looking at their environment behind them, and I'm just like, it's already happened, guys. It's already happened. If you want to see what I'm talking about, go to ome.tv. ome.tv. You gotta Omi TV. I spend a lot of time on that, and watch and just log in. You can log in with your Facebook and just watch the cycle of people that come through. Look at them. Look at their environment, and it will scare the living hell out of you. Set yourself for America, set yourself for Europe if you want. It will scare the living hell out of you. What most people, when you go out in society, you look and you think, oh, well, yeah, everybody's pretty much like me. But when you see how these people live at home, what the generation that's going to take care of me in the nursing home, it scares the living hell out of me. Because just do it. Do it. All I'm going to tell you is just do it. Go to ome.tv, log in, let the feed just run, and just watch the cycle of people that come up. And tell me that you feel good about the country that you live in. And so, um, has the deep state won? You damn right they have. They created this. They created everybody that is locked into their house playing video games, blah blah blah. See it for yourself. I've been wanting to comment on this for a long time. Probably going to comment on it several more times, but um, yeah, it's not even big. It's not even the environment, the people. It's just the type of person. I had this conversation with Chase earlier today. He's 26 years old. I was like, son, I feel very sorry for you, man, because he's a good-looking kid. He's military. He's just he's. It's been a pleasure to be his father, and you guys hear me talk about this all the time. But there's not a lot of girls that are of his caliber. And when I see these girls, not to be breaking on girls, I see these girls that weigh more than him. They got purple hair, they got tattoos all over. Oh my God, where did all this come from? Well, it was created by, destroying the families, destroying tradition, destroying this liberalism, blah 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 blah. The deep state, if you choose to call it that, is what created this. The government does not get what it does not pay for. This is exactly what is engineered to be. These people are not marketable. These people are not going to get a job, even at McDonald's. If they are, they're certainly not going to pan out. These people are primed to be exactly Tavistock. These people are primed to be nothing but eaters. And when their day is over, they're gonna end up in the landfill. But right now they're just basically pawns in a much larger game. But no, seriously, go to ome.tv and take a look. Spend about 5 minutes and report back. Tell me what you think. It'll scare the crap out of you. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the charts. It's frightening. It really is. So you guys wonder you wonder why I date out of country women. There's a reason. There's a reason. Uh, all right. So Dent, to get back to this, basically we're still waiting for this. I think this could still get mushy, and I think that we're every bit likely to kind of the story can change probably by Friday. We could find ourselves dipping, and we still have. You can see we have a little bit of a bump right there. This is what I was talking about, how this line, we don't have to follow the line, we follow the trend. See how we're the high water mark right there? We hit the high water mark of this small thing right here. So we're trending down, so this means we're trending down as well. Oh yeah, you got yourself a furrin man, do you, Sharon? You guys go to Jamaica. That's what I hear. It's funny, you kind of triggered me to think, of all my time that I lived in the Philippines, I think I saw a white woman maybe twice in 2 years in the Philippines, and they were missionaries. What you do see is a hell of a lot of middle-aged and older guys in the Philippines, and you see it in Kenya, and you see it, in all these other places that I've been. Um, women tend to do it a little differently. They kind of do it on the down low. I don't know. You guys kind of got your own thing. I think you go out in clusters. You have your flings and then you come back. But the guys, they go and they stay. Chase is listening to my live stream. He said, "Show him the chicken." Okay, yeah, I gotta show you this. Hold on, just there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be off topic. I'm being very unprofessional today. It's just one of those days. I'm sorry. So Reef again, we're following down here. So this is I've lost control of the show here. I apologize for this. He sent me a message say show everybody the let's see if I can find it here. Hold on just a minute. Yeah. So and again, I gotta be nice here, but This is no indictment of this woman. I'm sure she's probably a lovely woman, but not not my type. Let's just say that. This is the stereotypical thing that I see in my area that pops up, and it's just it's telling. You know what I mean? It's you would never see this back in. I marvel. That's her dating profile. I marvel at when I was a kid. I'm old enough to remember. I was just at the tail end. I'm old enough to remember when women used to put on makeup and high heels to go grocery shopping and stuff like that. I'm not saying you have to, but then you go into Walmart now and you see that, you're like, what the hell has happened to my country? And this stuff is cultures change, yes, but man, it's. I really do feel like I'm 54 years old. I still feel like I'm 20. You can obviously tell that I'm not your normal 50-year-old. I don't feel my age, but when I look around, I'm just like, what freaking planet am I on, for God's sake? I mean, it's just you go into Walmart and you really think you're on a different different planet. It's like nobody has any shame anymore. It's just like it's terrible. And the thing is, it's like I posted it in the Discord. I posted it um, about this middle-aged guy was commenting about when we were kids, this, that, and the other thing. Everybody get a trophy, and if you guys get a chance, go into I think it's in the general chat. I had a whole stream of stuff that I posted. Um, and one of them was a video. I'm or not TikTok, but YouTube has recently started doing something now where they're feeling the pressure from TikTok, so they do these things called YouTube Shorts. And I watched a whole. I'm surprised YouTube gave me this. Gave me a whole stream of YouTube Shorts that were basically very conservative. I thought, well, shit, that's awful nice of them. So they gave me this, but one of them was this Mexican guy, and he was on there. He was like, "See these two little white kids across the street?" And I'm like, "Oh, here we go." And he's like, "No, these little kids offered to mow my lawn for $20." I'm like, "Uh-huh, wait for it, wait for it." And then it caught me off guard. This Mexican kid said, "These two little white kids across the street, they offered to mow my lawn for $20, and I'm gonna let them, because you know why?" And then he went on this thing talking about this, and he goes, "So don't talk to me about white privilege." And I'm like, "Wow, wow." And so, it there's people who get it. There's people who get it still. But I'm telling you, it by and large, anyone under, if you guys are under 25, 30, you fall into a slightly different category, because obviously you're trying to do something with your life and being on the channel, and you're very welcome to be a part of this group. We'd love to have you. So when I say 25 or to 30-year-old people, I'm not referring to you. I'm talking about people that are not on the channel. And so they're just a different group of people. And I really, really am very concerned with what they're going to do when they come to power, because they haven't been tried by adversity. They haven't been, these things that we talk about on the channel, stuff like that. I mean, so if you don't like what you're seeing now, wait until that group gets in charge. It is not going to get better. It's not. Oh, so how you liking that, Juris? Did you? I assume by your comment you've been on Omi TV. Yeah, it's something. It's something. Yeah, idiocracy would be a very good. All right, so apologies to anyone drifting in on this channel. This is what we do. This is why we call it the Crypto Treehouse. You just never know what the hell we're going to talk about. So this is an informal meeting we're having amongst friends. So thank you for enduring. I don't know how many people we got in the live chat here tonight. I don't know how many people are in the chat. So it looks like we probably got we got about 35, 40 you guys. So, not a big thing. We'll get to the. Honestly, I'm just kind of looking. I pretty much covered everything on the last live stream, so we're just kind of hanging out here. Every once in a while, things kind of happen, but I'm doing this to kind of get my daily shows up a little bit. So, I'll stay on topic when I have to. I'll stay on topic. Now this is a free exchange of ideas. I don't get a chance to do the live streams, or I don't get a chance to do the meetups the way I would. If I had my druthers, I would be out every week meeting you guys because I love that. What we had going on in Vegas, what we did in my birthday last October down in Georgia. Can't wait to do it again, guys. Number 55 is coming in October 30th, and we will be doing this again. I will probably going to go back down to Georgia because we had such a good turnout, and a lot of you guys are centralized to that. But I had intended on going to Vegas this week, but I didn't get a chance to do that. So I took care of. I did my board meeting. I was going to go down there and do the board meeting, and we were going to go do a little racing with Rich, and just didn't happen. So I'm not taking off to Vegas this week. I was going to do a kind of an informal meetup and stuff like that, but I'm jonesing to get out and do another one here pretty soon. But until then, it's nice to be able to kind of have this exchange on YouTube and stuff like that. So I'm always willing to do that. It would be nice if I had another channel to do this because sometimes, occasionally, people are kind of like, "What, what the hell is this guy talking about?" But if you're in it, you get it. Glad to have you. If you're not, hang out. You might like what you see. So. I actually forgot it was Easter yesterday. I'm like, that's one of the things about being a single person. And Chase don't give a rip. I don't give a rip. I don't. I'm not gonna say I don't go to church, but let's be honest, I don't go to church. So I don't have television. I don't turn television on, so there's really nothing going. Hey, remember there's Easter? You know how I knew it was Easter? Three drunk chicks showed up in a tour bus with Easter with bunny ears on at the gas station at midnight. Oh, it's Easter. Took me a minute to put those two things together, but that's how I remembered it was Easter. Yeah, Monty, I'm glad that you joined us. Speaking of that, by the way, if you guys didn't catch or you guys are not in the unfairadvantage.chat, a lot of people were asking, and I mentioned this. I sent out a special, what happened to Veronica Jane? She's actually right now. She's off with the monks right now. She sent me an email. She's over in Tibet right now. So that's why she hasn't been on the show for a while. And then when she comes back, she's going to tell us all about Tibet. So get ready for an earful of that. So I'm not sure when she's back yet, but I was joking with everybody on my little "What Happened to Veronica" thing. We have a very tight bond, Veronica and I, and we're if you want to plug the woo in, we're psychically connected because if I'm thinking about her, she's thinking about me. It just is. And so I said that I try to send her a couple of emails because I got a couple of guys that subscribe that are waiting for their DTMs, and I'm like, I got a post-it note sitting here and going, I need to get a hold of her, and I've been sending her messages, and I thought, well, looks like I'm gonna have to send her a psychic email, and so I literally sat down and just kind of tuned in on her and just said, damn it, call me. And within roughly about 4 hours, she sent me an email going, I was thinking about you. I'm like, yeah, I bet you were. So we kind of have that connection, which is kind of cool. To be able to actually do that is really, really freaky. But the more I'm around this stuff, the more normalized it gets. But I am able to be able to kind of get her attention when I need it, and I can't get it in that way. So she sent me an email saying that she's in Tibet right now. She's in a Tibetan monastery, and she was going to climb the mountain, but she can't hack that because she lives in Los Angeles, so her lungs are probably trash. She can't handle that altitude. So anyway, she'll come back, and she'll be back. Hard to say when, but she'll be back here fairly soon. She'll tell us all about it, and then we'll pick up where we left off because there's a lot to discuss since she's been back. So she does stuff that she had in the can already with Ramstein Regulant. So some of you guys probably saw her things she did on the Ukraine. She did that before she took off. She's got a couple other things that's going to be released here pretty soon. And when she comes back with me, since I'm on this thread of consciousness. I'm pitching the idea because my media company, I'm pitching the idea of doing something with her kind of called mystery series where basically we'll pick some stuff. And I currently did some remote viewing with the 21 group of Tutankhamun, and that is yet to be rolled out with a different division of the 21s. And but her and I and potentially Tom and her gal that is her mentor, I'd like to get them together and be able to do our own thing where on a different channel or a different subscription based thing where you guys can come in and like, hey, I got a question for Veronica. You can directly ask her, for a couple bucks or maybe on a live stream or something like that. Since apparently it's nice that we're now finding out that my super chats do work. So we might very well do it this way. So, and by the way, if you guys aren't aware of that, apparently I just found out today that super chats is now working. So if you guys want anything called out, just throw me a bone, whatever. I'll be happy to, since I'm just spitballing tonight anyway. If you guys want to support the channel, certainly do that. Love to have that. All that money goes to the homeless. But we might be able to do that as a call in type thing where you can tell me about this, tell me about that, and she can just give you live readings on the super chat. So that might be a fun thing we can do. So if you guys are up for that, let me know and I'll pitch that idea to her when she gets back. But second to that, what I was going to say is I would love to be able to do a series of books because, like I said on a couple live streams ago, I haven't really wrote a book for about 7 years. I was on a binge where I wrote about 350 some odd books, and I just went cold turkey and stopped when I moved out of the Philippines. So um, I'm probably going to be talking to her about doing a series of books, mystery series books and stuff where we'll cover certain deep dive on certain things in the world that people want to know about, where we'll basically get her into what she calls deep trance meditation, which is an Edgar Casey style trans mediumship, and dig out the mysteries of the world and put it in print form and put those books out there. So which would be pretty cool. Just some I working with psychics, let me tell you, you think musicians are prima donnas? Holy crap! You haven't, I must have this. I must have it. Yeah, it's just working with psychics is like working with rock stars. I mean, the shit's just got to be a certain way with them, and you might see the obvious way of doing things, but you can go pound sand because it's not going to happen. Because they're just not going to do it if they ain't feeling it. And I had my early. I'll tell you a real quick story about this, and then we'll do some more charts here. And by the way, if anybody wants to have me run a chart stuff while I'm just busy telling stories, just throw it up there. I'm keeping my hands busy here, so I can take a look at charts while I'm talking. Um, so my early meeting with Veronica, I recognized her talent and I had told her, hey, we can set up a website, we can do this, we can do that, we can do the other thing, and she was not having it. She was just categorically not having it. I'm like, do you realize how much money you can make? Well, it's not, as you well probably know, you guys are into woo-woo stuff. It's not about the money for them. And so I'm like, well, but, and I am a die-hard entrepreneurial person, so when I see something, I immediately see dollar signs following behind it. And I'm like, listen, we could make you a rock star here. We could, have you all over this. We could build up a channel for you, have a website, do this. Nope, not interested. Nope, gotta wait. Time's not right. I'll know when I know. I'm like, well, shit. So wah wah wah. So not happening. And so we developed a friendship, a relationship where things. She understands how I'm hooked up a lot better than most women, and so now we do things. But I've learned, and again, this is one of those things like trading crypto. You have to learn patience. I'm extremely impatient when I see something that I can make money on, or I see something that I can improve or make better, and and it just, go. No, not yet, not yet. And so I'm good at telling you guys to do this with crypto, but I'm not good at telling you guys to do this. When you see a financial opportunity, not including crypto, to not go for it because tomorrow is not promised. And so, but we've developed a relationship over a couple of years where we get each other. We're quite tuned to each other, and it's a very wonderful relationship, and I'm very glad she's come into my life, as many of the other people that are part of the 21 group and part of what I do. But there's still some conflict there that like I said, I pulled back a little bit because I'm not exactly hip to the way that the larger organization, which is London Sawyer, is running the 21 group. And so I said, all right, well, I'm going to pull back what I'm doing and my contributions, but they said, no, we don't want you to go. So they pulled me back in, but my role has changed a little bit, or for at least for right now. But I certainly haven't cut my ties with any of the people that are part of the group, because it's an amazing. Once you've been exposed to some of the stuff that I've been exposed to, and then you can't go back to normal life after you after I've seen orbs in my house. Some of you guys have been with me long enough to know I've had orbs in my house. I've had I've seen pictures, real legitimate Pentagon level photos of aliens. You can't go to Walmart after that. You can't just walk around in public like you didn't see that. It's strange. I live a very strange life, and so, but it's cool strange. So I wouldn't want to give it up, at least at this point in time. Occasionally, it can be a little bit of a burden to know the things that I know and try to reach the masses, and it just, you're either tuned to listening or you're not. Back to the dating site thing. It's This is another part of the issue, and I've talked to a couple of the gals that are in this group. Josie Posey, Tiny Tank are my friends, and a couple of other people that have been with me for a long time. They know me on a much more personal level. And one of the things I was telling another gal that was in this group, is I was going to Cuba, and then that was not going to happen because I found out later that this gal had been jabbed 3 times. But I really adore this gal, so I'm still going to go to Cuba. So what does that mean? I don't know. Am I walking into a suicidal situation? I don't think so. But I can bring my ivermectin and whatever all else. But it's really really hard. Because I'm on these websites, and I meet these people from all over the world that they don't know what we know, and I'm not going to say the stuff that we know because I don't want YouTube to flag us, but the things that we're hip to about the jab and et cetera, et cetera. And you try, I'm sure we've all had these scenarios where you try to educate somebody on, hey, do you know what you just put in your body? I mean, well, really, what do you hope to achieve by that? It's taken me a while to just stop doing that because the damage is already done. I meet a girl and she's been jabbed 3 times. I'm like, oh my God, do you know what you just put in your body? What can I possibly achieve by telling this gal? I just freaked her out and ruined her life. I mean, there's no good damage done. I can't go in there and suck it out for her. She can't suck it out for herself. Damage is done. Better just be blissfully ignorant to your last final short days. And I was having a discussion with a gal from Romania 2 days ago. Sweet gal. We were talking for probably about 2 hours, and this was on Omi TV actually, and absolutely adorable. 22 years old. We were just getting along great, stuff like that. She tells me she's been sounds she tells me she'd been hit with the jab twice. She goes, "Oh, I'm going in tomorrow. All proud. I'm going in tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh, honey." And you want to say something, and so I just can't. I got a big mouth. I can't help myself, and so I start talking to her about this, and I could just see the expression on her face. It's not registering, and you sound like an absolute psycho babbling idiot talking about depopulation world, blah blah blah, and the deep sea, and you either get it or you don't. And my company, Second Empire Media, we are putting together a series of small attention span clips, is what I call them. Let me share something with you here. I don't want the Secret Service on my doorstep tomorrow, so take this with a grain of salt. I'll tell you, you do what you want to do. Uh, so let me tell you a story within a story here, and I'll tie this all together with what I just mentioned. Uh, in order to market this stuff, in order to market an idea, we sat down with a 21 group, and I'm a diehard marketer. I have been since I was in my early 19 years old. And I discovered a neat little trick. Shouldn't have done it back when I was younger, but oh man, did it work. And so I mentioned this to my 21 group, and I mentioned this to a couple other people, and they thought, this is how we're going to do this. I'm like, I take no ownership of this, so please, I want to go on the record of I am not personally doing this. But I want to give you a little earworm and let you think about this. So I put out, or I am putting out short term or short attention span videos because you can't expect somebody, if you're trying to educate them about the jab or trying to educate them about what's going on in the world, to sit through a 5 hour video. You just can't. You got to hit those short highlight, deals. And so my mission, just related to what I'm about to show you, uh, is to be able to say, hey, watch this. Oh, TikTok, quickie, quickie, quickie. Hey, did you know? Blah, blah, blah. Quick fact, quick fact, quick fact. So the question is how do you proliferate that around the globe so that people see it? Because if you put it on Facebook, they're going to censor it. You put it on Twitter, they're going to censor it. You put it on anything, big social media, they're going to censor it. But there is a way around, and I know what it is. And so there is one thing that gets into every single person's hand that can't be censored. It's one thing touches another person and another person and another person. And I learned this when I was very, very young, when I was building my first multi-million-dollar website. I didn't know that I shouldn't be doing it, but oh, did it work. You put the website address on the money. Picture a dollar, picture the life of a dollar. And let me give you a theory. I'm not suggesting, again, I want to go on record. I'm not suggesting, but I want you to kind of understand the brilliance of this. If a person were wanting to spread a message uncensorable, how would you do it? This is the number one way you would do it. Picture the life of a dollar. Dollar, kid mows the lawn. He gets paid $1 and he goes and buys bubble gum. Now the grocer's got it, and he pays his helper. Now his helper's got it, and his helper goes and goes out with the boys and on a Friday night pays the bar. Now the bartender's got it. And that dollar goes through infinite number of people, and every once in a while you ever get those dollars that have like the Where's George. You guys ever seen that? Where's George? It's how to track a certain serial number on a dollar. Where'sgeorge.com. So if a person, I put this out again, you have to remember I've got people that are high level military people in the 21 group, and I mentioned this, and they lit up to this possibility. And so putting the message on the money, use the money against them, and that's exactly how it works. If you want to spread the message, that's exactly what you're going to see. Is there's going to be certain people. I'm taking no ownership of this. I want to be very, very clear of this. Um, um, there is a way, and that is one way to spread these messages through short bullet point messages, and this is how we're going to bring public consciousness up. Yeah, yeah. So every once in a while, these little things pop into my head. Well, let's see here. Well, if you guys want to talk about anything else, we're just discussed just about. You want to talk about home remodeling? I'll tell you what happened 2 days ago, or was it night before last? Last night before last, I was playing Find the Smell at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was going to talk about this on live stream. Jesus, I just paid Chase's house off, and I'm laying in bed. Well, I'm sitting in my office, and I'm smelling the faint smell of burning electrical. And there's nothing, if you've ever smelled burning electrical, there's nothing that smells quite like it. It's kind of an acrid, it's a dusty, acrid, acidic smell with an overlayment of rubber. And I'm like, and burning plastic. And I'm like, what the hell am I smelling? And I'm walking around the house just sniffing all. I couldn't find it for like 3 hours. And what it was is, you guys have heard this several times. You've heard my space heater. My space heater, I had an extension cord plugged into my space heater going underneath my. I have a kind of a weird bathroom that's adjacent to my bedroom and to my office, and so my space heater was blowing into my office where I'm talking to you from right now, and uh, it's the plug apparently wasn't thick enough, or just couldn't handle the heat, and it caught a slow smolder where it basically ended up melting all the plastic, and so the smell that I was smelling was a slow live burn happening probably over the course of maybe about an hour or so. But I smelled this. I could not, for the life of me, I pulled my dresser back and I went, oh my God. So yeah, if I have a picture of it, I'll show you. I don't know if I've got it or not. Actually, yeah, actually I think I do. Hold on just a second. I'll show you. But I just paid this damn house off. I'm trying to burn it down now. And the thing is, I don't have insurance on my house right now because I'm still trying to get my trust reset back into Chase's name. And so I'm sitting here in a house with no insurance and damn near burned the friggin' thing down. So that would be rather unpleasant to wake up to 8-foot flames shooting out of my bathroom. So every day is an adventure. Yeah, I woke up to that. That yeah. So that happened behind my dresser. So I had a little space here that sits off to the left of me here, and I had this cord running off into, this is my office. My desk is over here. So my space heater sits there. The cord goes underneath my dresser, which is a big 6 foot long dresser back in my bathroom, and it was plugged in behind the wall. And that's what I was smelling basically this caramelizing for the most part. So, and this smells delicious. Let me tell you what. I can still smell. I'm wearing a turtleneck right now that was on that desk, and I can actually smell it's in my clothes. It's making me half gag here, so I didn't realize that till I got my shirt on today. The former owner of this house was a chiropractor, and some of you probably have heard my lamenting. His name is Corey. And when I took this house, this was a foreclosure that I got this house, and I've given it to Chase. It's a 5 bedroom ranch house, all brick house, and so it can't burn completely to the ground, just everything inside of it. But this guy fancied it. He was a chiropractor who never owned any tools, clearly. And so when we moved in, what we found abandoned in this house was a bunch of stuff, a bunch of Gucci and Prada, and his second wife plowed through his $1 million pretty quick. And so he just left his house like it was quote unquote on fire. And so he left like 60-inch big screen TVs. I mean, he bass boats, Harleys. He left everything in this house. He just walked out. Left 50% equity in this house when I got it. And but one of the things that I've been here for, we'll just call it close to about 6 years. Every single time I find something that's not working in this house, I find it has something to do with something he quote unquote modified. We just got, as I mentioned in the live stream a couple weeks ago, we just got a brand new roof put on this house because the last roof that was put on was just literally just put on over top of rotten wood and stuff like that. The shingles still had probably roughly about, no, I'll say roughly about maybe 12 years left of life in them. But there was a lot of spongy areas in the roof. And literally on the garage, there was a hole about the size of a basketball. You just put shingles over the hole, and it didn't change the wood. And the roofers came and said, "This is the single worst house we have ever re-roofed in 25 years." I'm like, "Yay, good to be the benchmark." And so we just got that done. So I just wrote a $17,000 check to get a new roof put on this house. But we've changed, the outlets. There's three-prong outlets. Not a damn one of these things has a third ground in it. Not a damn one of them's hooked up. But when we moved into this house, what I found above the refrigerator was a whole bunch of Time Life home improvement books with post-it notes all over it. So I literally have a playbook of everything that's about ready to break down in this house, because everything everything that he has ever posted noted in those books has gone wrong. How to do drywall, how to do plumbing, how to do when he put in the bathroom. He put a shower. It's indescribable, guys. I can't even. I have my bedroom is a series of actually two bedrooms side by side with the wall knocked off, and on the back side around I have one bedroom that is literally a bathroom connected to another bedroom. And it's not a house you could sell very easy. It's cool for me as a bachelor because my shower is literally like 3 feet around the corner from where I'm sitting right now. But it's weird for a normal person. But when he put in the stand-up shower, he put no stink trap on it. So I would be lay when we first lived here, I would be laying here at like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, going, "Why do I smell sewer?" And I could not figure it out because that's when they burp the sewers in downtown and whatever. So you get that backflow of people flushing their toilets and taking showers, and all that stuff was coming from the city sewage back up the pipes, and there's no U trap. And all that stuff was coming up my drain, literally in my bathroom, and like gagging me out. And this went on for I don't know how long. It's so I have been debunking this house for 6 years, and I've just about got it whipped. I've got like two more projects. We got to remodel the kitchen, and I got to get a new furnace put in this thing before the price of those gets so astronomically high. But and I'm going to turn that over to Chase, and it'll be his house here when I move on to bigger and better things and stuff like that. But so I'm trying not to burn the damn house down. But that outlet that I showed you, this outlet right here, has no third ground, and you can already see how it's not touching the wall because it's loose. There's a switch above it, and it goes to something. We still have yet to figure out what it is, but it's it's just one thing after another after another. So, but it's we're winning. We're winning. So. So did you guys bail out of Mover like I told you to? Hopefully. Yeah, that one's showing very clear downward signs. I would not even call that a curl to the upside, not at all. Um, the best you're going to see on this is probably right in that range right there. Yeah, I'll do that. I was talking about it, I kind of sidetracked myself. Yeah, so the best I would hope for you is probably if we see any kind of pump, not now. I'm expecting it to come down here and strike the bottom of this. We're not quite flaring yet. We've got a very large neck. That's a neck it's starting to flare minorly, meaning we're flaring to the downside. We're starting to pick up speed to the downside. So last call to get off the train. Actually, should do Algorand too while I'm at it. Has anybody found a chart yet for Songbird, by the way? I haven't looked for a while, but it just strikes me as extremely weird that there's no chart on TradeView for Songbird yet. If anyone sees one, please give me the code for it, or please give me the thing for it, and I'll have Chase fix this because we've been ever since this came out, we've been waiting for it. And it just not for nothing yet. All right, so I did kind of cover Dent a little bit. I kind of threw a comment on it and moved on, but it's still coming down. So you can see, you can still see basically we've got the flag formation that is indicating this is where the play should play out. If we look at this as being a flagpole, I should never use those chunky ones as that, and we were to put that right there, it's going to put you here now. If we're to expect that 50% of the move, actually it would be right there. I'm sorry, if which would put you on the ISIS line. If 50% of the move is about where we should be, that would put you right here. But if 75% of the move is going to end up playing out, that's going to put you right here at the bottom of this yellow box. So I'm pretty safe in my assumption of right there would be about where I would probably just go ahead and push it in. Um, Dent being kind of a stay hard, it just doesn't want to go down and stay down. It's just refusing to do what it should have done by now. I would be based upon that and only that. I would be pretty resolute in buying right here. Maybe trying to play a bounce that might take us back up a little bit. So you got the potential here. Look at it that way. You got that potential shape up currently in the here and the now. Um, let's see what kind of percentage. There may not be that great of percentages, but well, actually it is. So 20%. So if you just want to play it, if you want to buy it because you want to hold it, and let's be honest, this is an ERC20 coin. This is what you should be doing anyway. If you want to be buying Dent, then this is probably not your ultimate buy. I would be okay with it. You buying a portion of this as a safety buy. This is a very, very safe place to be buying because look at all that support and resistance that we've had. Um, Let me show you one other thing here. We do have a wee bit of a downward trend. See that right there? Let me show you how that plays out in the greater sense of things. So as this goes along, and if what I tell you is true, that's where we're striking. Is it's going to what's called confluence right there. It's going to happen right there. Um, and then it might bounce from there. Again, if you want to sell it as a bounce, this is not the kind of coin you should be bounce trading. It's just not because it's expensive. But if you're looking to buy and hodl, this is a good safety position to buy at the bottom of this. But then you want to wait until we get down here into this line right here to really throw all the marbles in. I'm expecting it to be clear on what this is. I'm in sufficiently in at 0.1 at 0.00155. I'm sufficiently in. I'm going to call that. I'm going to call it a day right there. But when I was suggesting to you guys earlier is don't be surprised if we get into a real catastrophic drop or something later on. You always got to kind of adjust for that. That we could wick down into this. Don't put your financial bets on this as a certainty. You can right here though, and that would be 0.001550. This is where ultimately I see that it's going to go. So from where we're at currently down to that line, that's 42% drop. That's within spec on everything else that we've been talking about. So we still have about 40% more to go. And I tread lightly by saying this to be at the quote unquote bottom. The bottom as I see it right now. Doesn't mean year bottom, doesn't mean forever bottom, doesn't mean ultimate bottom. It means a bottom that I think that I would not feel bad about owning, and maybe buying more if it goes even lower. But you can go ahead and grab a safety at 0.0019, but 0.0015 is ultimately where I'm pushing the kitty to the center. I haven't talked about Cardano for a while either. This thing is just really. Let's get all this out of here. How can you look at this and really feel good about this? I mean, it's just meh. We're not in a triple wave. We're not in a breakout formation. We're not in a head and shoulders. It's just, had its high water mark and down she goes. And so, you guys, I don't follow this. I did own some of this for a while and I got out of it. This is, again, we talked about it being an Africa coin. I had indicated and hinted to you. Hold on a second. I'm going to mute my mic here real quick so I can clear my throat. There, sorry about that. I had indicated to you this is an Africa coin, and it's going to take a while for it to mature and to gestate over in Africa before it comes back, does anything. Now I know Crypto Crow, big advocate of this. God bless him, whatever, he knows a lot more about this than I do, but I can see the charts and I can see the trends, and that's all that matters to me. And I'm telling you right now, I don't see anything in this. I did do XLM, but we're just killing time. I can do it again. I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at this thing and I ain't seeing it. So, everything, if you hold it long enough, you can say I told you so, but I'm not going to hold it through that period of time. So, and again, to go back and retell the tale of this, this is a clear indication. This I use this coin as a poster boy for people to go, oh, it's going to get listed on the exchange tomorrow. Whatever, whatever. This got listed on Coinbase and it went down after that, and it continued to go down day after day after day after day because it was people that were dumping literally like the minute it was listed on Coinbase. It was just dump, 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 dump. It did come back up a little bit. I can't remember when that was, but it came in at, I believe, about $1 or something like that, and just went. Yeah, they've completely taken it uh, off of the charts now to show that. But when it got listed on Coinbase, it just fell flat on its friggin' face. I believe it was probably like right in this range right here. And it came back or whatever, but that's all for naught. I'm just not, the short term of this is Cardano is not the best intelligent use of your money as I see it. For all the hopes and dreams you have of this coin, I'll be trading all over. I'll be walking back and forth all over tfuel and theta and XLM. And these use case more recognized, better traded, you know, whatever news being what it is. This is not a position that I hold anymore, and I don't know that I ever really will. It might be its thing later on. I think this was one of those coins they were speculating could be an ISO coin in the future. That's not enough news for me to throw down cash on. That's not enough certainty for me to throw down cash. And even I don't have to own all the ISO coins. I can own the top 5 or the top 6 or whatever. I don't have to own all the ISO coins. And by the way, we've never had this conversation, but when we say ISO coins, we're talking about the 5 or 6 coins that are out there right now. There will be in the future, will be more coins that are going to be ISO compliant because it is going to be the new standard. I will tell you all this and this as well because of my connections with banking. ISO coins are financial coins, are system coins. There's only so many seats at the table. Okay, so one of the things I'm saying is when I say there will be more ISO coins, I don't mean to imply that there's going to be, 50, 60, 70, 100 more coins coming. There's not enough room at the board for that, or there's not enough room at the table for that, or there's not enough room at the trough for that, so to speak, because we're talking about bankers, and bankers are pigs. But if there might be a few more use case coins that are going to fill in the gaps of some missing functions that they need. By that, I'll estimate 3 to 5 more coins coming. Those would be excellent, excellent ICO coins. But we haven't identified those yet. We don't know. They may not even exist yet. But just want to put that in the back of your mind that there are more ISO coins that will be coming, but they're not out right now. They're not worth your time right now. They're not worth mentioning. This could be one of them. I don't know. But until we see full clarity on that, this is nowhere I want my money. So going back to XLM, XLM is where I would want my money. So we're still horsing around inside the triangle here. So right now, basically, again, to kind of go back and recap for you here because you missed it, Jones. I'm just gonna call you Jones. Uh, we're basically just watching it to strike the top of that trend. I don't yet see a breakout because, like I said, we've got this amount of space here before we get to the week where I think we're going to see something. I have to just say something because I'm not clear on what it is just yet. But I think we're going to see a definable change in market. How's that? A definable change in market in the third week of this month, and we're getting there. It's the 18th right now. When does that start? Well, we're kind of really are in the third week of the month, but I'm talking about the end of the third week, going into the fourth week. So realistically, what I'm saying is the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, which is really the end of the third week. That's when I believe we'll start to see something definable. I didn't want to go back and visit this again. Excuse me. If anybody else wants to see anything else, I basically I'm gonna do about 30 more minutes here. I need to get something to eat because I haven't had anything to eat since I woke up. So here's one we have. Excuse me. Here's one we haven't talked about for a long, long, long time. Aave is well. I'll cut to the chase. So Aave is one that we have forecasted in a multitude of 3-4 years at probably about $1,200. Um, this is not something we throw McDonald's money at. This is for you guys that are rounding out larger 5 to 6 figure portfolios. And yeah, I'll go. Actually, got it right here. So this is one for you guys that are rounding out larger blue chip portfolios. And I would put Aave as probably being in the blue chip category, kind of like Chainlink. It's kind of that same thing. Um, Chainlink, Solana, whatever. But we are trending very, very down for the longest period of time. And we're not done yet. So you can very well see. So it's been clear back in January. Anubis said this is where it's going. And that is where it's going, kids. No question about it. No question about it. So let me do a little. This is just going to be kind of a sloppy one, not dialed in completely. And actually, I would venture to say probably even lower because we got dual AI lines right here. So overall, don't take this as gospel. Overall, to get down to the dual AI line, you're looking at about 78%. That's a pretty aggressive number. I wouldn't be looking for that right away, but I will tell you this. I will say that again, I have to get the correct lines here, pardon me. See if we're just following along here. I probably can, yeah, I could probably make that a little bit long. Yeah, it's probably there we go. I think we're about to get dual confirmation here. Yep. Yeah. So so if you remember how I did this, I'm going from pit to point here, or from pit to point, plugging it into the next bump, drop there, there's dual confirmation right there. So it's only a matter of time before it gets that. Now, if we wanted to look at this and go, okay, now would be a time when we would be saying, all right, let's mark out our 50%, let's mark out our 75%, and that would be exactly where we would be doing that, and that would come right there, right between those ISIS lines there. So those are your two marks. So your 50% is right here at 113. I think you stand a very good chance of picking this up at about $86. And I'll just say right there. Yeah. So that's probably that's probably one of your sanest places to try and pick that up at. Aave at $86, guys. $86 divided into 1,200. In the next 36 months or so, 36 to 48 months, that is not too shabby of a return for a blue chip coin. That's not bad at all. Is there time? Good question. Let me put you on hold for just 1 second. I want to run into the other room here real quick. My throat, as you can tell, my voice is starting to go here. So give me just a second. I'll come back and I will answer that question because it's a very good question. Hang on just 1 second. Okay, so question is, do I see XLM and XRP matching price? Is that what you're asking me? Close to the same price? Um, I don't want to bullshit you and say I have any kind of inside track on that, but my feeling, sorry man, my voice is just absolutely dropping out here. Okay. I would say that probably no. My feeling is no. But as I've said on this channel multitudes of times, I have said that it's highly likely, and it's mathematically proven that XLM is a lower price. It can move exponentially faster in rates of return than XRP. It doesn't have the stigma of the SEC case, and we've been down this road many times. So from an investment standpoint, XLM in the short term, and by that I mean in the next 6 months, is a smarter investment than XRP. Uh, there was a time, if you remember last year, where XRP, and it was kind of a mind blower, where XRP was actually less than XLM by about 3 cents. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And I really thought it was pretty much going to hold ground. And then that's when it got a bunch of people really bullish on XLM. But no, I don't see there's going to be time. I mean, if there is a time, I mean, fool me, I could be wrong, but I will categorically tell you that there will never be a time where it's going to hold that price comparison. If we ever get to that. Um, there's just too many variables to say XLM could probably have some outrageous news that comes out and all of a sudden the thing spikes just because of some whales doing something crazy or whatever. But looking at it just from its pure stats and stuff, no, there's no reason why it should ever. But this is one thing that I have. Excuse me, guys. This is one of the things that I have kind of speculated is we were going to move closer to a 2 to 1, and we have been holding 3.5 to 1 ratio for a very long time. We were at 5 to 1 at one point in time, so I'm really ready for that ratio. What you should be watching for, Jones, is you should be watching for the ratio break more than anything. If it, not that it makes any kind of financial distance, because if you can make money on it, just make money on it. Don't worry about that's just mental masturbation is all that is. But if you really want to see how strong XLM is watch its ratio to XRP. So right now, currently we're 3.5 to 1. If you see that fall to 2 to 1, what does that mean? Well, I don't know. It might mean that XRP is just having a bad day at the track, or it might be XLM's having, some very good news. It's irrelevant to you because you can't spend any of that. You can't deposit any of that. You can't pay rent with any of that. What you pay rent with and you deposit and whatever is the money you make. So I would really just look at it ultimately as being what makes sense for the rate of return and XLM, as I've said many times. XLM is it's just an easygoing coin that's got a lot of brand recognition. It's got IBM going behind it. There's going to be some really good stuff coming out, and within the next couple of years and stuff like that. These are bargain prices. I've told you guys over and over and over again. Let me pause my mic here one more time. So my voice is just going. I'll probably have to cut my broadcast off here in a little bit because I've got no voice left here in about 30 more minutes. So hang on just a second. There we go. See if that lasts me a little bit. So let's see what I had for that. XTC, theta, where did I go with that? Yeah, so here we are at 20 cents right now, or close to it. I am on record saying anything under 25 cents, and even anything under 30, anything under 25 cents is a bargain, and it is a bargain because we're going to be well into the $12 range before you know it. Before you know it, we're never going to get to those levels of the highest that I've ever seen. Anubis put out a forecast for this is $24, but it recalculated and dropped it. but it averages anywhere around, and this is for the next 24 to 36 months. Um, it, I comfortably see around about $25, um, probably within about 36 to 48 months. But ultimately, here's what I will tell you. We haven't visited this concept for a long, long time. So you guys that are looking at, I think a lot of you guys that are on the XRP train that are McDonald's manager money. uh, you don't know what you're going to do with it. Man, when it gets to $10, I'm going to sell it. Don't. Uh, we have talked about this in the past, but I've never really explained to you. This is another how the big money is played. This is how you use this coin. If you don't know your exit and you take an entrance, you're doomed to fail. So let me explain to you guys who have not been with me for a very long time, who have not heard this little dissertation. Pull up a chair and really listen to me, because this is how the big money is playing, and I am big money. Not to brag or flex on you. I've told you guys multitudes of times, I'm up there with my holdings in XRP. If I sell, you're all screwed. Let's just say that. And I'm not selling. And I have no XLM at this point in time, but I will. So this is how you do this. You borrow against it. You never. When do you sell it? You don't. You never do. So what's the price going to be? Okay, whatever the price is going to be is what it's going to be. It's not relevant to you selling. Now you can borrow against it for tax reasons. You can leverage against it to buy other crypto, other property, other whatever you want to do. But there is no reason ever, ever, ever to sell XRP, to sell XLM, to sell. I'll broadly paint with a much wider brush than I did on the first time I made this comment. There's no reason, once you own these things, and I'm talking about ISO coins, to ever sell them. None, because they're basically part of the financial system. If you owned a piece of, I'll put it this way: if you owned a piece of the Federal Reserve, when is a good time to sell your share in the Federal Reserve? Answer: never. Full stop. And so you live off the money you make as your ownership of the Federal Reserve, and this is the new Federal Reserve. So why would you sell it? You don't. Now we've talked about an awful lot about how these things are going to come to pass. I'm gonna have to say this now. I'm gonna probably call it a day because my voice is starting to really go. Uh, I predicted long before this MetaMask thing came into play with the banks buying MetaMask and stuff. I told you guys almost a year and a half ago, way back at the inception of this website and this channel. On my first three broadcasts, I told you guys you can expect the likelihood of private keys. In other words, not private keys, but these crypto wallets like Ledger Nano and blah blah blah. They're going to be dinosaur bones before you know it. They're not going to be something you're going to be allowed to do, because we've talked at great length. Very early, about a year ago, we talked about how XRP works. It can be manipulated. It can be black flagged. It can be limited easily because it's a banker coin and because it's built for that. And people say, "Oh, come on, you don't know what you're talking about." Oh, I do know what I'm talking about. Because here's the thing: I can give you an example. I know what I'm talking about, but let me give you an example of how it's already been applied. So, a lot of you guys that were in XRP know that way back in the day, what was it, 20 coins? You open up a new wallet, they just hold 20 coins hostage, and you don't ever get them back. And so a lot of people go, well, God damn it, what if this goes up to $36,000 per coin? Well, something happened last year. They tweaked the code, and all of a sudden they unlocked half those coins. So now you don't have to have as many coins to legitimize a wallet. Well, let's think about that for a second. So you're telling me that they can't manipulate XRP and screw with your wallet? Well, they just did. They just reached into every wallet on the planet and unlocked the money. So are you telling me that you think they can't get into your wallet and take that back if they want it, or shut it down if they want to? Oh, you best believe they can. And most crypto works this way, whether people want to admit it or not. But XRP specifically, it's designed for that. It's designed for that. And so here's what I'm telling you, just to further crush your hopes and dreams. You are going to have to keep this stuff with a licensed person, such as I always like to say Charles Schwab, Chuck Schwab, or a Chase Manhattan Bank, or a God forbid Wells Fargo or anything like that. This is what those banks are gonna flip their new way of being, is to be the people that hold your crypto for you. That's what's going to be. And you're going to have to pay them a fee for doing you a good favor and holding your crypto and all the good things that go along with it. All the regulations and all the oversight. Oh yeah, that'll all be there. It's going to be great. And but that's exactly how it's going to work. And so, well, no, I'm going to keep mine on my private keys. I'm going to keep mine on my Ledger Nano. Yeah, well, if you don't have, okay, so let me give you a scenario that I see, I've heard, I've talked to people, and this is how this is going to play out. This is what's planned to play out. Now there might be slight modifications, but it's going to work somewhere along this narrative. Uh, let's look back to the 1920s. Hold on just a minute here, and I will make my point. If I can find, I just had a photo of this, and I want to show you. Hold on just a second. Loading, loading, loading. Hold on just a second. I may not be able to find it here, so bear with me. Some of this stuff I stick aside, and I mean to have available on live stream, and I don't have it when I have the presence of mind to want to speak on it, and then it's just lost to me. So hold on just a minute. Completely disrelated, but we're going to talk about this here in just a minute too. um, wouldn't you know it? Okay, so I don't have it. I'm sorry. So basically, there was an article. There was an article that came out in the 1920s. We all know the story about how gold was outlawed for private ownership, and you can go to jail and you can get in trouble, and the government says you can't own it, and blah blah blah. You got to support the war effort. They can do this stuff. They have a track record of doing this. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to say, oh, those terrorists, they're keeping this stuff private. We need to, oh my God, think of the children. We got to get this stuff into licensed bankers to watch this stuff because you might be funding terrorism. Blah 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 blah. All the stuff we've heard just forever and ever and ever. And so that's how it's basically going to play. Is they're gonna demonize these people that are private. Well, you've seen the playbook. It's old hat. It's been done so many times. But basically, at the end of the day, they're gonna say, okay, you have X number of days to get this shit out of your wallets and into a legitimate, respectable, upstanding businessman's account that can watch this stuff and take good care of you. And you have X amount. And after that, we're flipping the switch and your stuff is cut off. Well, I'll just trade it privately. No, you won't. No, you won't. It will be dead. It will be dust. This stuff isn't going to be just, well, I'll use it over here. This isn't going to be the same thing as gold. Okay, well, I'm just going to hoard my gold or whatever. Screw these government guys. I'm not going to give them my gold. I'm just going to hang on to it. Are you aware? Most of you guys are probably not, but are you aware that if you were caught trading, so that 1920s Gold Seizure Act is still in effect. If you're caught trading coins that are dated within that range, you can still go to jail today. Did you know that? It's a fact. so, so you want to talk about ultra rare collectors? Those people that trade on the DL to own that era of gold coin is kind of like a faux pas that you don't want to be caught by the wrong people. But it's much like dealing in stolen art. There's certain people that still collect it. Yeah, that's a thing. So anyway, back to crypto. Uh, that's what's going to happen. Is they're going to say you got X number of time. Once they go through their little media buzz thing about how all the terrorists have it on private keys, we just got to get rid of this stuff, and we got to get them all out there in public. Where we have full disclosure, so we know everybody's on the up and up, and everybody's living and being productive and whatnot. And they're going to give you a certain period of time, and after that, they're just going to just turn your coins off. They're not going to be tradable between you and me. They're not going to be tradable anywhere. In fact, what that's actually going to look like might be subject to interpretation. But I will tell you that they will be flagged. They will not be usable at all. So, for example, let's speak to XRP. If you're going to be trading XRP between you and me, and screw these bankers or whatever, well, it's not, because it won't register on the blockchain. They'll lock it off the blockchain. So effectively, they've just made it dust. And so, can they do that? Yes. Again, I'll make the point again. When people started to freak out, the price of XRP started to go out and stuff like that. Basically, what they did was they just said, well, you know what? We'll release some of these coins from lockup, and they clicked one button up there at the Ripple company and said click, and all of a sudden, billions of these goddamn things were unlocked. 10 coins were unlocked from every wallet on the planet with a stroke of a key. That should horrify somebody that thinks they've got this figured out, that doesn't understand the master plan. So, to kind of tie this together, I think we'll call it a day. The issue. Let me clarify my thoughts here before I just babble it out. The issue is, so I said never sell your crypto. Now I'm going to give you a caveat. So my window, and I've said this before, my window is I look at XRP like a toaster. I got a really cool toaster. It's a 4-slice, actually 6-slice toaster. I got a really cool 6-slice toaster. But at some point in time, there's going to be an 8-slice toaster that comes out, and maybe I want to get that, or maybe I want one that makes French toast or something like that. So there's always something new coming down the pike. And that being said, XRP, but you go back and you look at the Swift system. That's a bitch lasted forever, since the late 60s, early 70s. But stuff does become outdated. Things outdate faster and faster and faster and faster. So XRP has a shelf life. XLM has a shelf life. All of this stuff has a shelf life. You're not going to be passing down your XRP to your great grandkids. Sorry, it ain't gonna work that way. So you must accept and understand that. And so my window is to be out probably by about 2030. There's a lot of reasons why that number 2030 comes up an awful lot, don't it? And there's a reason for that. But I intend to be stepping largely out of my holdings into whatever makes sense. If metals can even be had, I don't know. It's too far in the future to know, but I'm not going to have it in XLM. Land, hell, I don't know. Cloning, I don't know. But nonetheless, I'm going to be out. So I've got what is it, 8 years? I've got about 8 years that I'm going to be holding it for. But during that time, I have zero intention of selling it. I have zero intention of raping my stack anymore once I get back the 10% that I sold off, because I'm going to be using it for leverage. I'm going to be using it we'll talk about that play later on, but there's no reason you should ever when you get an asset, you borrow against your asset. You don't sell the asset, because once you sell the asset, the party's over. You can get asset 1, borrow on it, get asset 2, and then asset 1 and 2, you can borrow against those two, and then they can get 3, and then 2, 3. That's how I built a real estate empire. Bought my first house, borrowed against the equity, got the second house, borrowed against the equity, third, borrowed against the equity, reconsolidated the debt, paid off one house that paid everything else, and then I had 5, then I had 10. And there was one point in time when I was buying 7 and 8 houses a day. And that's only because there was only so many hours in a day. And once you do that, once you hit, that's kind of that earlier discussion we had way back in the first part of this live stream. You guys have to exhibit patience. It's very hard to stare at a $500 McDonald's money paycheck and go, how is this ever going to grow to $1 million? I came back to this country 7 years ago, penniless. I'm a multimillionaire again. And I came back with nothing but the ideas in my head. So yes, it can happen. It can happen, but you have to put the work. You got to build the knowledge. You got to put in the work. Simple as that. And so, there you go. So that's the sermon and the download for today. Well, I still got a little bit of voice left. Thank you for tolerating. This has been a very Very off-topic live stream. It's always fun to just kind of just once in a while, it just is what it is. So, when there's business to be done, I'll be all about it. But for right now, this is basically just kind of what we want. Just want to spend a little time with you, just kind of take a little the YouTube algorithms. Again, if you guys haven't done a thumbs up, you enjoyed spending time with me. I enjoy spending time with you. Please do that. So until tomorrow, we'll probably do this again. So until then, be safe, be good, and be good at it. Peace and hair grease, baby.